Good afternoon and welcome to Thomas Henney Stadium on the Concordia University campus here in Mequon, Wisconsin. Finally, after nearly a 2-hour weather delay, it's time to kick off the 2013 Division III college football season. The Concordia University Wisconsin Falcons welcome in the Augsburg College Augies on the Concordia Sports Network. And a very pleasant good afternoon. Welcome Lakeside alongside Nathan Kerner. My name is Matt Menzel. Both of these teams are coming off phenomenal 2012 seasons. Both teams winning 7 games and losing 3. And Nathan, when you talk about Falcon football, right now, a lot of excitement surrounding this team after producing their best record last year since 2007.
That's true, Matt, and one of the big things is that they were literally a play away from taking the conference last year. Coming into this season, they are ranked number 1 in the preseason coaches poll. Austin Damashki, sophomore quarterback last year, having a breakout season. Fellow junior Garrett Wenzelberger was first-team all-conference. He's back this year. This is an offensive team that was very potent last year, and a lot of it is back for this year.
Yeah, the Falcons, as you mentioned, they finished a game back of Concordia Chicago, who for a second consecutive year brought home the NAC championship. Falcons ended up losing to the Cougars by 3 points here at Thomas Henney Stadium by way of overtime. But as mentioned, so many playmakers are back. Offense seems to be set from that of a year ago. You mentioned Damashki is back at quarterback after assuming the full-time responsibilities that a season ago. He has a number of playmakers to possibly throw that ball to. The question marks, though, lie on the defensive side of the ball.
That's very, very true, man. A lot of the top tacklers on this team have graduated. There are some key returners in Uzil McDermott and John Palazzi, but linebacker has been a question mark. In fact, Joe Paul, kick return specialist and one of the top rushers in the team, has actually been moved to the linebacking position to beef up that question mark position.
That's a defense that last year had a turnover ratio of +8, allowed just 18.7 points a ball game. And again, with a defense like that, you put yourself in position to win each and every game. And again, the Falcons were able to accomplish that feat by going on and after what was a slow beginning last year with 2 losses, bouncing right back and taking 7 of their next 8. The opponent, the maroon and gray of the Augsburg College Augies out of the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, they too went 7-3 a year ago and now put together back-to-back plus 500 seasons for the first time in a while, as they put together 3 consecutive plus 500 seasons between 1997 and 1999. And when you look at their roster, when you look at their offense, it all begins with their freshman stud from that of a year ago, dual threat quarterback in Ayrton Scott, the now sophomore, and seeing if he can duplicate what he's able to accomplish during his first collegiate year.
That's right. One of the disadvantages of being a freshman phenom, Matt, is that the defenses are going to do their homework on you, but Ayrton Scott had a very impressive year. In fact, if he didn't set a record last year for a single season, he's in the top 5 in a number of categories now. This is a kid who's definitely made his mark on this program and in Division III college football. And the question is what does Greg Etter and the defense have in store for him?
And the beauty, too, from a ground standpoint, Augsburg gets a couple of backs back that missed time last year due to injury. We will step aside the national anthem, a flyover to take place as well. And when we come back, it's time to kick off the 2013 football season. The Falcons and Augsburg College coming up from Thomas Henney Stadium on the Concordia Sports Network. Our national anthem wrapping up here from Thomasini Stadium, and a three-plane flyover as well going south to north. Long anticipated after, again, a 2-hour weather delay, but the sun is shining once again after some monsoon rains. Plenty of thunder and lightning surpassed the area. There was standing water on the turf as of an hour ago, but now you look out there, you can't even tell it rained at all. But again, we're just about set to kick off this 2013 season. This will be the fourth all-time meeting between the Augies and the Falcons. The Falcons have never beaten Augsburg College. In fact, they've lost all three get-togethers by an average of 25.3 points per game, including last year at Minneapolis, Minnesota, by a final score of 41-20, down 14-0 after the first. Never really could recover after being down 28-7 through 3. As we speak, the captains meeting at midfield. The Falcons sporting their home blue jersey tops with the white numbers in the front and back of each jersey and the white pants. They will have the blue helmets with the white numbers on the side of each helmet. And for the Augies, they are sporting their away white jerseys with the maroon numbers on the front and back of each jersey, the maroon pants, along with the maroon Augie logo helmet. The Augies winning the coin flip, but deferring until the second half, and so we will see the Falcon offense on the field first. An opportunity again to see Austin Damashki and what he's able to do. Again, a year wiser, more experienced, and I know you talked with sixth-year head coach Greg Edder, and he really feels like for Austin Damashki, he's becoming more natural at just reading defenses and getting many different weapons involved.
That's very, very true, man. We mentioned Garrett Wenzelberger earlier, but one thing Garrett Wenzelberger does for this offense besides catch the ball is he gives defenses someone to latch onto, which Damashki last year uses an opportunity to read his offense better, to look for other receivers, because Wenzelberger may have been his favorite, but he's not the only target on this offense. So Wenzelberger, being a target of the defensive backs, opened up a lot of other hands to make receptions last year.
Well, you mentioned with the Augies, Ayrton Scott, their quarterback, no longer is a secret for opponents everywhere. Same thing could be said about Garrett Wenzelberger. Now, granted, he's been on this Falcon roster now a couple of years, but a coming out party, if you will, last year, and a great size at 6'6", that all of a sudden he'll be a focal point for opposing defenses. That opens up the opportunity for other receivers to step up, and there are a number of different receivers to possibly turn to for Damashki. So getting set to kick off this 2013 season finally. Again, ready to give it a go, and it seemed like just a couple of years ago when Augsburg was last year, same scenario. Waited a couple hours, but able to finally get that one underway again. That was won by the Augies, 34-31. Brandon Searle will be kicking away for the Augies. As for the Falcons, a couple of dangerous return men with LeCurt Evans among the two back to receive, the other being Joe Paul. So this to be kicked off on the tee from the 35 in between the hash marks from north to south. Angling near side, that to be taken from the 14 by Evans. Evans cutting back in, spins. We're going to fight his way near the 25, but going to be stopped shy up near the 23. So now an opportunity. Both of these teams, you can probably guess, jacked up. The season's underway, but also waiting and, anticipating the start of the season and not knowing when this game would in fact start. There was some talk that maybe the game would be postponed until tomorrow. Well, here we go. Now Austin Damashki at 6'1", 191. He's the junior at quarterback. He'll come out with four receivers. LeCurt Evans, the lone back in the backfield. Quick pass, that's complete near side. Garrett Wenzelberger fights his way up near the 29. And Wenzelberger able to pick up close to 7 before being tackled on the play by Enrico Barrazzo, the senior linebacker. So early on, seeing Wenzelberger first target for Damashki. Garrett Wenzelberger, a first-team all-conference selection a year ago. Now being flanked by a couple of backs on second down. Handoff goes to LeCurt Evans. Evans stuffed up near the 31-yard line. Tried to get a couple of lead blocks, but he was stuffed in his place as he's able to pick up close to 2, and it's going to be about a yard short of the first down stick.
And LeCurt Evans, we've talked a lot about the passing game on this team map, but LeCurt Evans had a pretty good year as a freshman last year. He a rushing offense that wasn't that substantial. LeCurt Evans was definitely a standout alongside Joe Paul and gave this offense yet another weapon and at times another passing target for us in Damashki.
Yeah, Evans ultimately playing 10 games last year and making 6 starts. So you're looking at third down, couple of yards to go. The Falcons a year ago, 54 of 145 on third down conversions. on the keeper. Appears to have enough. Off the keeper by Damashki, and indeed a first down pickup for the Falcons. Let's check out the starting offense for Concordia. On the left side of the offensive line is Anthony Quinones along with Nick Smith. Will Goodman at center with Sean Jones and Ben McKay on that right side. Going again with the 4 receiver set, which includes James Saunders and Cody Johnson, along with Garrett Wenzelberger, Josh Melkowski, the tight end, and then LeCurt Evans in that backfield. The handoff went from Damashki, and this time getting Shea Klitsky, the junior running back, involved. He's a Minnesota native, able to work the football up to the 36, 37-yard line. Picks up 3, brings up second down and 7. So able to utilize a different back. Coming back out with 3 receivers off the fake, rolling to the outside. Damashki throws on the go, and a bullet pass that's caught in the hands of James Saunders. Saunders up near the 40 for a pickup of 3, still about 3 yards short of the first down stick. That brings up another third down for Concordia.
James Saunders, a senior on this roster here. One of the many targets that we mentioned before here, but there's a face to go with that description there, Matt. And James Saunders, senior, another very big target last year, getting his first touch.
Evans in motion, gets the pass, and then down he goes. Looked like he slipped, and then was quickly met by Felix Coleman, the junior defensive back. That's going to go down for a loss as LeCurt Evans knocked down back at the 38-yard line. That brings up 4th down. You look at a 4th down at about 6 or 7 yards to go, and the special teams out there for Concordia. Hunter Brynick showing off his leg a year ago. He was a second-team all-conference punter. Couple of backs to receive for Augsburg, that including Tyrell Martin, a junior. He is joined back there by Hakeem Bourne McFarland. Going all the way back near the 13-yard line, a fair catch by Tyrell Martin. And now the Augies offense onto the field being led by the much-talked-about sophomore now quarterback, Ayrton Scott, 5'10", 215 from Minneapolis, Minnesota. He is out there with Andrew Konechny on that left side along with Corey Strasser. That's the left side of the offensive line. Chad Thompson back at center. Matt Green and Bob Rose on that right side with Jerice Washington and Joey Sonnenfeld, the 2 wide receivers. Adam Carl, the tight end, with Tyler Maxwell and Phil Putratz, both to be in the backfield, both coming back that from injury. On the outside, and you see the run by Scott, but he was quickly met. And for the Falcons, the tackle being made by Dustin Veldboom, a freshman defensive back. And this time around, the Falcons defensively, they know. Last year maybe it was a secret because it was the first game in the Ayrton Scott era. He ran the ball and had his way against this Falcon defense. He tried to run on that very first play, picked up just 1. It brings up second down and 9. This from the 14. Moving from left to right, north to south here on this opening Augie drive. Scott rolling, throwing. It's low, but coming back to the football and making the catch is Joey Sonnenfeld. He was able to create some separation after he was battling with Ryan Edelman, the sophomore defensive back. As for the Falcon starting defense, Roziel McDermott, Taylor Whitty, Kevin Kern, and with Chero Sheridan on that defensive line. Ben Kempman, Lane Lawson, and Joe Paul, your linebackers, with Shannon Smith and Ryan Edelman, the 2 cornerbacks. John Palazzi and Dustin Veldboom, the 2 safeties. Fresh out of downs, 1st and 10 from the 28. Another keeper by Scott. Cuts back in up the left side. He gets across the 35-40. He gets across the 45-50, and there he goes. 40, 35-30, 25-20. He's up near the 15. Tiptoe on the sideline. He is diving near the goal line, and he stumbles out of bounds after a great-looking run yet again by Scott.
We said, Matt, that the Falcons had their time to prepare here. Some things you can't prepare for, and Ayrton Scott here is a proven talent when it comes to the run. He had more rushing yards than he had passing yards last season and running the Wildcat offense. And right there, he just the CUW defense was ready to get him, but he just managed to run right through it.
He ran right through it for 63 yards. It's 1st and goal from the 9. So Scott coming back out. Couple of backs in this Wildcat offense. Off the handoff, stopped inside the 5 is Tyler Maxwell, the sophomore running back from Prior Lake, Minnesota. Maxwell, one of those backs that is now back from injury. He missed the entire 2012 season. This coming after he set the single-season school record with 13 rushing touchdowns in 2011. 9:45 left here in the opening quarter and scoreless. This the opening drive for Augsburg. They have second and goal from the 3. You have Maxwell and Putratz in the backfield along with Ayrton Scott. He'll throw it into the end zone. That's going to be batted away. Getting a hand on it was John Palese. After it looked to be a for sure thing to Joey Sonnenfeld, but it was floated up there just long enough that Palese was able to bat it down.
John Palese, the premier defensive back here, Matt, on this Falcons team and stopping the pass here. In fact, he won the Luther Cup, you could say, last season with a game-ending interception. He had 3 interceptions last year, and he's broken up many more passes in his time here.
Referencing that Lutheran Bowl victory to wrap up the season against Wisconsin Lutheran, 17-14. Third and goal from the 3. Scott's going to take it himself, and he's going to go down. Great looking tackle by Joe Paul. He held on to the ankle and would not let go.
I actually asked Greg Eder during an interview, Matt, about why Joe Paul was chosen to switch from offense to defense, and he says because Joe Paul is one of the most adaptable players on this team, and he proved it right there, reading that play like a book and stopping the nearly unstoppable Ayrton Scott, forcing a 4th down.
Now taking over the kicking responsibilities is Brandon Albert to attempt the field goal on its way from a good 33 yards out, and he's able to not get through. So a field goal knocked through the upright for Brandon Oliver, the freshman from Lake City, Minnesota. But give credit to the Falcon defense after giving up that 63-yard run to Scott. Able to stand tall near the goal line, keeping the Augies out of the end zone. They give up 3 points, down 3-0 with 8:54 left in this opening quarter.
That's right, man. Ayrton Scott, as I mentioned before, is just a force of nature on the run right here. And cutting out that play, you have to admit the Falcons did not give up that much yardage on that play. With the exception of that 60-plus yard run, the Falcons gave up less than 3 yards per play. That was actually a very good defensive series, aside from that one excellent play by Ayrton Scott.
I do note officially Oliver credited with a 25-yard field goal. I gave him too much credit, but nonetheless, if he would have kicked it from 33 yards away, he would have knocked it through nonetheless. That was as strong of a leg as we have seen from Oliver as he knocked that one right through the uprights and way beyond that south end zone. So officially a 25-yard field goal, and now the kickoff with Paul and Evans back to receive for the Falcons. They stand near the 10. This to be taken by Paul from the 15. Now he changes directions, goes back up the middle, and spins before being stopped across the 25 up near the 26. That's going to be a 16-yard return for Joe Paul, who was mentioned as back for his senior campaign out of West Bend. Now let's check out the Augsburg defense we never got to during the Falcons' first offensive drive. On the defensive line, it's Aaron Perry, Lincoln Biggie, Sean Crane, and Chris Devitt, who is back as an all-conference returnee. You have Enrico Barrazo along with Michael Jabarian and Marcus Townsend, your 3 linebackers. As Damaschke pump fakes, now throws far side. Sauter tries to make a one-handed grab, but he bats it down instead after making a near improbable catch. He was being covered by Felix Coleman. And for the secondary, you have Pei Tangben as one of the cornerbacks along with Avery Dorsett. And then the 2 safeties, Hakeem Bourne McFarland and then Felix Coleman in his junior season. Second down and 10 from the 26. Evans, he is slot right. Damaschke looks to his left. Here comes all kinds of pressure. Damaschke gets rid of it and throws it away after seeing some great pressure come from behind. Pressure from Chris Devitt, the junior defensive lineman from Shoreview, Minnesota. Nearly blindsided him, still got a good piece of Damaschke, who was able to get rid of the football. And again, Chris Devitt, a 2012 second-team all-conference selection. Able to come through last year with a total of 52 tackles, 8.5 tackles for a loss, not to mention 2.5 sacks. And a flag will fly in here with 8:38 left in the first, a 3-0 lead for Augsburg.
That was Wenzelberger on the right side, Matt. He jumped a little soon, must have gotten the snap count wrong. That's going to cost him 5 yards.
Then on the false start penalty, our head referee is Michael Smith. Umpire is Josh Reese. Linesman Nathan Elliott. Ray McCormick, the line judge. Back judge is Mark Jontry. Field judge Ivan Palmore. And then the side judge is Chris Zoliga. On third down and 15, Damaski takes off, and there he goes. Damaski cuts to the outside. He gets across the 40. 45 is where he's tripped up after a nice pickup, but close to 24. How about the mobility of Austin Damaski?
We spoke a lot about Ayrton Scott's running ability. We can't discount Austin Damashki's running ability either. He was actually the leading rusher on last year's team. He can run as well as he can pass.
Last year he ran for a team best 252 net yards, 25.2 per game. On 1st and 10 from the 45, Saunders making the catch, and then he pops free. It's going to be a incomplete pass from Damaski to Saunders, who dropped it as he was hit. Looked like Hakeem Bourne-McFarland providing that boom, and the ball came free, but incomplete after Saunders nearly brought it in up near the 30.
That would have been an excellent catch there by Saunders. I think he just wasn't expecting to hit as hard as it was, because he almost had that catch made. It was just they hit him at just the wrong moment before he could establish that he had both hands in positive control.
Would have been a 25-yard pickup. Handoff goes to Kurt Evans, and he fumbles the football. This time a legit fumble recovered by the Augies up near the 40, or was it? Indeed, they have the football. Evans had it pop free. And getting back up, it looked like for the Augies, it was Chris DeVette who was pretty active on that offensive sequence for the Falcons, was able to recover for Augsburg, and the ball will go the Augies' direction from the Falcon 39.
The Augie defenders who managed to tackle Kurt Evans managed to get his helmet right up against the ball, knocking it out of his grip. And that's just an unfortunate turn of events here for the Falcons after a rough start to this drive, managing to get the first down on the Austin Damashki run, to lose the ball and give Augsburg, frankly, some very good field position.
Great field position again with Maxwell, one of the two backs, Putt Rats as well in that backfield for Scott. Scott looking near side, rolling, sees some pressure, gets rid of the football, incomplete. Great pressure applied by Uziel McDermott. Uziel, a 2012 second-team all-conference selection, one of a couple of all-conference selections back for this defensive unit that was oh so good a year ago.
True, Uziel McDermott is one of the linchpins returning here for the Falcons defense here, and he's so far done a pretty good job of putting pressure on Ayrton Scott when he drops back to pass.
McDermott was tied for the team lead last year with 5 sacks. With 8 minutes on the dot left here in the opening quarter, 3-0 Augies. Second down and 10 from the Concordia 39. 3 backs. Now motion for the Augies is Adam Carl. As the handoff goes to Putt Rats to the outside, across the 30. He is out of bounds up near the 26 for a pickup, a 13 and a first down. So Phil Putt Rats, the senior running back out of Minnesota, the other back that is back from injury, had a season cut short last year after 4 games, had a couple of touchdowns, and ended up coming through with about 259 rushing yards. Number of backs that were utilized during the course of last season, a team that was led, though, by the ground game of Scott. And again, they will hand it off to Maxwell. Cuts back in between the hash marks, and he is somersaulted down across the 20-yard line. That by Palazzi. Ball is spotted up near the 18 for a pickup of 8, bringing up a second down, couple of yards to go. 7:15 and counting here in the opening quarter. Second offensive sequence for the Augies. A team did not lack offense a year ago. Boy, could they put up the points, and they did so time and time again. And Scott, again, a big reason why, and not only from the ground, but also the air, well over 1,000 in both categories. Here is Scott looking to throw, and again, one of his defenders slipping. It's caught for a Augies touchdown, hauled in by Joey Sonnenberg. Boy, his defenders slipped. Sonnenberg made the catch, and then made the half-circle route into the south end zone. 18-yard touchdown reception, and the Augies now lead 9-0.
So far, Matt, the defense here for CUW has been plagued by just people falling out of position here. I wonder if the field is a little soggy for them. They just weren't prepared for it. After all, it was raining cats and dogs before this game started, but so far it's just defenders slipping out of position, and the Aggies just taking advantage of it.
The extra point up and good, and it appears the extra point taken. That by Scott Bassard, the sophomore tight end, handling the place kicking responsibilities. But here it's a now 10-0 lead for the Augies with 6:49 to go in the opening quarter. You mentioned the field conditioning and some guys slipping. Again, we mentioned it at the start. About an hour ago, looked down at that field, there was standing water all around the field itself and up against the sideline, not necessarily noticeable on the field itself or on the playing area, but that was a concern about an hour ago. There was some flash flood warnings out for the area, but still, the fact of the matter is, even though it doesn't look like there's standing water on the field, it's still some water soaking in out there, and again, you wonder from a footing standpoint, from a cleat standpoint, just how prepared these teams are for those conditions. Certainly, we're not anticipating those conditions when this game was originally supposed to start at 1 o'clock. So Searle will kick it away. Paul, far hash mark at the 10, near side Evans. And Paul's going to watch this one bounce out. A legal procedure penalty coming up because the kickoff flew out. That was 6:48 to go in this opening quarter. 10-0 in favor of Augsburg. College able to score twice on 2 offensive drives. At last created thanks to a fumble. A fumble that was recovered by Devitt. So the ball is placed up at the 35. Nice starting spot here for Damaschke, trying to jumpstart this offense. It's had a tough time for a number of years in non-conference play under 6th-year head coach Greg Etter. This Falcon team has 1 victory and 14 defeats on the non-conference slate all time. Evans in motion, but the handoff goes to Klitsky, and Klitsky fights his way up near the 40 for a gain of 5. That lone non-conference win, by the way, came last year. It came in the home opener against Trine by a 13-10 final. For the Falcons, that was their first home opening victory since 2006. You're on 2nd and 5. Damaschke fakes, now takes off. Damaschke splits a pair in between the hash marks, gets across the 45, dives to the 49, pickup of 14, and a first down for the Falcons. Tackle made by Michael Jabarian.
It's interesting, we noted earlier, Matt, that Ayrton Scott last year ran for more yards than he passed. Right now, I believe that is Austin Damaschke's case here. He is the 2 big plays for the Falcons offense has been when he has taken off on the run.
Yeah, Damaschke prior to that run had a couple of carries. Well, now make that 3 carries for 35 yards officially. That one again going for 9, and now it's picked off by Akeem Bourne-McFarland. Interception for Bourne-McFarland to the outside across the 40. He's up near the 45. He tiptoes across midfield as flags fly every which direction. A face mask perhaps coming against Concordia. But there's the second Falcon turnover on that, their 3rd offensive drive. This time an interception thrown by Damaschke, easily picked off by Akeem Bourne-McFarland, the only player downfield closest to where that football was thrown. And it is a 15-yard face mask penalty against Concordia.
That is just insult to injury there, man. It looked like someone ran the wrong route or Damaschke forgot what the route was being run there because there was not a single blue jersey near that interception.
And yet again, thanks to the penalty being tacked on, outstanding field positioning for the Augies. 3rd offensive drive begins from the Falcon 34. 5:44 left in the first, 10-0 Augsburg College. Again in motion, you have Carl, the tight end from Eagan, Minnesota. Also in motion, flip-flopping from one side to the other. It's Putt Rats. Handoff goes to Maxwell. Cuts to the outside across the 25, and he will lunge ahead near the 21. Palazzi was there defensively along with Jack Kugler. Kugler out of Kenosha. Another first down. 13-yard pickup. Augie's doing a nice job mixing up that offense. Nice balance. Scott, last year he ran for 1,436 yards, scored 12 touchdowns. The yardage, a single-season school record, that off of 209 carries, but he also threw for 2,245 yards. Scott will look to keep it. In fact, he'll tuck and run, and Scott is going to find the south end zone. Scampers across. You had Palazzi to beat Ayrton Scott 12 rushing touchdowns a year ago, gets number 1 this season on the 3rd offensive drive of the game, off another Falcon turnover, and the Augies have come out. They've taken a 16-0 lead with 5:01 left in this opening quarter.
The Falcons here, Matt, have just given the Augies way too much breathing room here. They've made the Falcons hurt on each offensive drive in every way they can. And Ayrton Scott, excellent, breaking almost every player that touched him. Palazzi, the last hope there, just couldn't get there in time. And the Falcons need to find a way to bring Ayrton Scott down before he can break open to the open field.
And give credit to Brandon Oliver. He's hit both extra points. It is Scott Bassard who's been used as the holder on those extra points that are seeing the Augies take now a 17-0 lead with 5:01 to go here in the first. And again, we've mentioned a few times, the Falcons have benefited from turnovers, plus 8 in the turnover ratio that a year ago. But right now, it's deja vu from that of a year ago where Augsburg came out, set the tone, able to control the entire game, and they've come out here and they've set the tone thanks to a couple of turnovers, great starting field positioning, and then, of course, the lethal weapon that is Scott, who has carried the ball 4 times, 80 yards, 63 being his long. He's also thrown 4 times. He's completed 2 of those passes for 32 yards and a touchdown. So a kickoff coming from Searle. He handles the kickoffs. And the extra points and field goals being handed by Oliver. Paul and Evans, again, the 2 deep men. Both had 8 kickoff return for a touchdown a year ago. This taken from the 16 by LeCurt Evans. Evans goes to the outside, cuts back, and LeCurt Evans, who zagged inward from the far hash mark, he is marked down up near the, they mark him down near the 33, 34-yard line. The inside of 5 minutes to go here in the opening quarter, and that's a very important offensive sequence, already down 17 points to get something going after the last 2 offensive drives ending with turnovers.
That's right, Matt. The Falcons here need something big to happen here. They need to spark this offense. They need a few big plays. They need to get their morale back in the upward direction here. This team really needs a jump start at this drive.
Austin Damashki, he'll keep it, and down he goes. Down back at the 31 for a loss of a couple. And again, it's Chris Devitt on the stop. But Damashki throwing an interception on that last offensive drive, an easy pick for Akeem Bourne McFarland. Damashki, a quarterback last year, had the least amount of interceptions thrown among the starting quarterbacks in the NAC. He threw 6 in all out of the well over 319 passes he attempted. Damashki held in place, and down he goes. Sacked on the play after he was held in place by Michael Jabarian. Held him so he could not break free. Waited for some weak side help to come, and it came by way of Tanner Weissman, the junior defensive lineman.
And the Falcons they're coming for Damashki. The Augies are now. They clearly have made him a target. As we mentioned, reputation, when it precedes you, can make your life a little more difficult. It's really difficult out there for Austin Damashki right now.
Coming out again with 4 receivers. And now Klitsky, slot right, shotgun for Damashki on 3rd down and 23. Damashki, he's going to take off, and down he goes. Very little time to work with. And Spencer Corey, the junior defensive lineman from Baldwin, Wisconsin, a community college transfer, coming through with the stop. And it seemed like not once, not twice, but 3 times, Damashki either looking to take off and run or being sacked because, again, not much time to work with, and quickly the Augies came from every which direction to apply the pressure.
We've spoken a lot about the Augies offense, Matt, but their defense right now has done everything right in picking apart Austin Damashki and the CUW offense's weak spots.
And so the Falcons will punt away with 3:10 and counting here in the opening quarter. Off the strike by Peter Morton, taken back at the 30. Tyrell Martin breaks free across the 45 up to midfield. A 20-yard return. Palazzi on the special teams tackle.
Once again, Palazzi being the stalwart on this defense, because there were 3 tackles that were broken before he got in there. He's right now the most active member of this defense, trying to keep this defense standing tall here in this first quarter.
That was Hunter Brynick on the punt. The 8 was scrunched together, making it look like a 0. Peter Morton is the backup punter. We'll see Morton at times lining up as a wide receiver, listed as the number 2 man on the depth chart behind Cody Johnson. In motion is Jarice Washington. Washington fumbles the football, but it's recovered by Scott. That bounced right back to where Scott was diving. able to cover up. Close, though, on the play was Alex Geezy, the freshman defensive lineman out of Green Bay.
Reese Washington there went in motion a little too soon. Ayrton Scott was a little shocked to see him there. They bumbled up the handoff there, which is where the ball came out.
Really the first time we have seen Washington, who carried the ball 91 times, second best on the team a year ago for about 610 net yards, averaged about 61 rushing yards a game and 8 rushing touchdowns, second behind the 12 by Scott. Off the 3-yard loss at 2nd and 13, Scott will fire and connect. Carl across the 45, hanging on despite the ripping out attempt by the Falcon defense. Attempted to be ripped out by Brett Waldorf before the tackle was made. That by Karan Hall. Ball is up to the 42. Nice pickup of 10, bringing up a 3rd down. About 2 or 3 yards to go. Augsburg a year ago on 3rd down, 57-118. A rare 3rd down in this one. Scott throws on the go. Turning around, just nick of time to make the catch was Sonnenfeld. And the Falcons would say, hey, it hit the turf first to no avail. So Joey Sonnenfeld able to make the catch despite, again, the coverage on his backside by way of Karan Hall, who was faked out by that quick turn. That by Sonnenfeld, who ran, stopped, turned, came back, made the catch for a 1st down. So this to the 27 of the Falcons. 1st down and 10 with 1:20 left in the opening quarter from Tomasini Stadium. 17-0 Augsburg. They benefited from a couple of Falcon turnovers, a fumble and an interception by Akeem Bourne-McFarland. Aired out, and this is going to be easily picked off near the goal line. Flag will fly in off the interception by Shannon Smith.
I wonder if this is defensive pass interference here, Matt.
I mean, Shannon Smith had nobody within his shadow. Just a matter of catching that football. But again, waiting to see what these flags were all about, and they came flying in after Smith had the ball coming down and for him to catch. The defensive back out of Florida.
It was offensive pass interference.
And so the penalty decline is going to be Falcon football. So the turnovers right now at 2-1 Concordia. So Shannon Smith coming through with the first Falcon pick of the year. They came through with 11 interceptions a year ago. And after being tackled in the end zone, the ball is going to be brought out. Out to the 20-yard line with 62 seconds left in this opening quarter. Damaski so far 3 for 7 passing for 10 yards. No touchdowns and interception. He'll come out with 3 receivers. LaCurt Evans, slot right. He'll get the handoff. Evans up the near hash mark. Stopped near the 24. And he was met by the good size of Lincoln Biggie. Biggie is 6'1", 287 from Rochester, Minnesota. So Biggie on the stop after a 3-yard gain at 2nd down and 7. From the 24. Damaski fakes the handoff to Evans. Has nowhere to go. Has to get rid of it. He got hit as he threw it trying to find Saunders. Saunders was running to the outside. And Damaski was drilled by Jabarian.
Austin Damaski's just been given no room here to work, Matt. I mean, he's, as you mentioned before, he just does not have enough time to really find his receivers. He's trying, but there always seems to be one Augie who manages to make it through that O-line.
Augsburg defense that applied all kinds of great pressure that a year ago, in which, as a team, recorded 19 sacks, including 47 tackles for a loss. 33.4 seconds left here in the opening quarter. Shotgun for Damaski, 17-0 Augsburg. Pressure coming again out the blitz. Damaski able to throw it high and complete, looking for Saunders. He was well covered by Hakeem Bourne-McFarland, but either way, that one flown way over the head of Saunders despite, again, great pressure. The blitz was on. Luckily, getting tripped up was Denzel Anderson. Otherwise, Damaski would have been drilled. On that right side is where Anderson was coming from. Clock stop with 28.8 seconds to go, but another defensive stop for the Augies. And again, seeing Brynick come out to punt away. Brynick a year ago averaged 36, almost 37 yards a punt. He had 13 inside the 20, 8 of 50 plus, and 4 blocked. Gets plenty of protection that time around. The ball picked up from the 29. Tyrell Martin across the 40, and he is stopped at the 43. Guess who again on special teams? As you see, the Falcons get McDermott downfield along with for Concordia. They see Richard Ellis, the junior out of Hales Corners, Wisconsin, all among but a handful of players that were able to get down there and stop Martin after a return of close to give him 13, 14 yards. Clock stop with 16.7 seconds to go here in the first. Scott 4 for 7 passing, 57 yards, a touchdown, and an interception to Shannon Smith. Ayrton Scott on the handoff, nowhere to go for Phil Putretz. High fives all around for Alex Geezy. Final seconds tick off in the first quarter. In the book, a 17-0 lead for the Augsburg Augies. You're in Week 1, Division III college football action. This is Falcon Football on the Concordia Sports Network. Out of the second quarter from Thomas Cini Stadium in Mequon, Wisconsin. 17-0 Augsburg College in front. They have the football second down and 12 at the 42. Putratz able to break free across midfield. Nice pickup, close to 9. Still 3 yards short of the first down stick. In that first quarter, the Augies had the ball for 2 less seconds than the Falcons. That's now even with the start of the second, but had the football for 7 minutes and 29 seconds compared to the Falcons, 7:31. Overall, Augies with 17 plays, 172 yards. Falcons with 20 plays for 37. On third down, Augies were 1 for 2 in these situations. Scott's going to take off, and Scott appears to have enough for the first down. Despite the gap closing up, the Falcons had the trio with Brandon Schneider. He was in there along with Austin Kotz, along with Alex Geezy, all closing up that gap. But after Scott is able to pick up the first down. Scott in that first quarter ran the ball 5 times, net yardage of 77 yards, 63 is long, plus a touchdown. First down and 10 from the 45. And now Scott looking to throw on the go. That's complete. And the catch made with Jarice Washington up to the 32 for a gain of 13 and another first down.
Once again here, Matt, you want to look and see the difference here. Ayrton Scott has had plenty of protection here in these last few passing plays. Passing protection that Austin Damashki just did not have. And right now, the Augies are just cruising on both the rush and the passing game.
Yeah, first down and 10 from the 32. Nice balance here. 115 rushing yards through 1. 57 as well in the air. Scott's going to the air. Steps up and throws it as he got hit. He goes end zone bound, but overshoots. Sonnenfeld in the north end zone. Pressure came Scott's route up that right side by Waldorf.
Speaking of the devil there, Matt, the Falcons finally breaking through and forcing Ayrton Scott to throw the ball a little earlier than he wanted to, and he overthrew the receiver there.
So it brings up a second down with 10 yards to go. The scoring so far for the Augies, a Brandon Oliver 25-yard field goal, Joey Sonnenfeld 18-yard touchdown reception, and then Ayrton Scott a 21-yard rushing touchdown. All their scoring drives lasting 3:08 or less. Having great field positioning thanks to a couple of Falcon first quarter turnovers. On the run by Putt Rats. He's able to get up near the 21-22. And he's going to have enough for a first down. Give him 10 yards. He's to the 22, 10 yards on the dot, and another first down. That's now 10 on the game for the Augies.
I mentioned this before, Matt, but both Ayrton Scott and Putt Rats are managing to break tackles. They break as many as 3 at any given time they run here, and that's really starting to hurt the Falcons. They can't just get either of these two gentlemen down on the first hit.
12:45 and counting here in the second. 17-0 Augies. Scott rolling. Here comes all sorts of pressure. He's able to elude one, eludes another, throws it up, and it's incomplete. Incomplete on the outside. Looked like Maxwell was his intended target after he was able to get rid of it, but how was he able to break free? The hit came, or at least the trip-up attempt by Luke Shoreline. Also there again was Waldorf to apply the pressure.
Scott there dodged a bullet, Matt. That could have been a loss of well over 20 yards had he not gotten it away just in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sets up a second down and 10 at the 22. Coming back out with a 3-receiver set, which includes Sonnenfeld up that right side. In motion now, you have Carl, the tight end. Fake handoff. Scott will keep it himself. Scott's going to run. He finds open daylight, and he dives near the goal line, but he was down at the 1. Trying to stretch. His knee hit the turf first. Ayrton Scott, it's amazing what he can do with a little bit of wiggle room.
It's very, very true, Matt. I mentioned it before. His talent is breaking off the tackles and just staying up, and he's been making the Falcons hurt that way. He had just a little bit of space, and he turned what could have been just a quick run into a very big play.
And sets up a first and goal now from the 1. Putt Rats shifting over. Maxwell across the goal line, north end zone, touchdown for the Augies.
That was just an excellent drive there by the Augies. They dodged a few bullets. They put together some excellent plays, and the Falcons right now just seem to have no answer for Ayrton Scott and his running game.
So a 1-yard rushing touchdown for Maxwell. And now the extra point. Oliver off his right cleat. It's up, and it is through the uprights as the Augies take a commanding 24-0 advantage. And Scott now, with a couple of rushing touchdowns to his credit already, has rushed well over 100 yards with 12:02 to go in the second. So Scott with a rushing touchdown, Maxwell with a rushing touchdown. And Scott helped set up that first and goal from the 1, as mentioned, nearly had that second before he was marked down. And then getting Maxwell involved. Maxwell looking to pick up where he left off a couple of years ago. Easier said than done. We mentioned he ended up playing 7 games 2 years ago and set the single-season school record with 13 rushing touchdowns. Had 169 carries for 849 yards during that 2011 campaign that would see the Augies go 6-4. And they've been above 500 each the last 2 years. Before that, they had back-to-back 4-win seasons. Before that, they had back-to-back 5-win seasons. And then they like to forget about 2005 and 2006. That's because both of those years they went 1-9. They've come a long way, and now a factor in the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, and a team that's expected to be right there in the mix, predicted to finish 3rd out of 9 teams. On the kickoff, taken from the 14, Evans, and he is knocked down near the 29. Falcons in that first quarter ran the ball 11 times for 27 yards. Damashki, he went 3 for 9, passing through an interception, recorded 10 yards, was sacked once. A sack that's been credited in this game. And that was credited to Jabarian. And the handoff goes to the outside, Evans. And he is tackled across the 35. He's up near the 38. Nice first down pickup of roughly 9.
The Falcons need to see more plays like that, man. They've shown some offensive firepower here, but not enough of it in sustained doses. It's one play and then a mistake will happen. They need to have a few more plays like that in a row.
Up the middle, they hand off up the far hash mark again, utilizing Kurt Evans. Evans in the first quarter alone came through with 3 carries for 1 net yard. Surprisingly, last year, when you start looking at the ground game, this became a pass-oriented offense, although balanced at times. Here's Kurt Evans looking to cut back in. He's going to be knocked back in the backfield for a loss. Tackled in the backfield by Denzel Anderson. Knocked back to the 35. And now you're looking at a second down. It's going to be a 6-yard loss. Looking at second down at 16. They gave the Falcons a first down on that last sequence. Damaski with time to throw, and a short pass that goes to Wenzelberger. And Wenzelberger is stopped up near the 37-38, a gain of only about 3. But this is a ground game last year, Nathan, that did not have a single back record a 100-plus rushing yard performance. Not a single back.
It's very, very true, Matt. And that has also been one of the question marks because the passing game is there, but the run game is still being put together. Kurt Evans had a good season, as you mentioned. No one had over 100 yards in one game. And Coach Greg Etter has been trying to put together something here to enable his running backs to break out a little bit more.
Damaski on third down. The Falcons were 2 for 5 on third downs. In the first quarter, Wenzelberger goes sky high. He flips over the backside of the Augies' Felix Coleman, but a first down grab up to the 44.
Garrett Wenzelberger using his height to his advantage here. The Augies wanted to say that he bobbled it. He bobbled it a little bit, but he managed to trap it with his body as he came down head first into the turf and then gets up as if nothing happened.
Now Damaski fake handoff to Evans. Fires. Wide open catch inside the 15 on the reception by Cody Johnson.
Falcons finding their rhythm here, showing the confidence we wish we'd seen from them in the first quarter here. 2 excellent pass plays in a row, and now they're in position to punch up that first touchdown of the year.
Up to the 7-yard line for a gain of 37. First and goal for the first time now for Concordia. Damaski, handoff. Evans up the right side. Evans pushing near the 5 before he is smacked back the other direction. He was met and then stopped in his tracks and again sent to his backside for a gain of a couple, bringing up a second and goal, that from the 5-yard line. Perfect strike, though. Damaski able to connect with Cody Johnson on that 37-yard gain. Cody Johnson, a 2012 All-Conference honorable mention. Damaski throwing, end zone. Looking again for Johnson, but it was batted on down this time around. There was a flag down on the turf. Going to have offsides, it appears. Credit the secondary coverage to Tyler Maxwell. And offsides whistled against Lincoln Biggie.
It's a big breath of fresh air there for the Falcons because now they're 2 yards away. And that was a very dangerous play there. That was great coverage by the Augies. That could have been an interception and a touchback, and that would have been a big deflation for the Falcons' momentum.
And still second and goal. Damaski looks right, floats it up for Wenzelberger, reaches up, he comes down with the ball in hand, hands go up, it's a touchdown! All size definitely played a factor on that catch. You have the lofty throw, Garrett Wenzelberger, time to jump perfectly, reaching over the top side of his defender, able to come down with the football intact, and he's able to score 6 in the south end zone, and the Falcons now trail 24-6.
One thing you have to love about Garrett Wenzelberger is he's so tall and long that even on great plays like that, he barely looks like he's trying. He's just such a large specimen that it doesn't, like on a regular sized player, man, he'd have to reach up for that. He just puts his hands up right by his face, and it's an easy 6 for the Falcons. At least Garrett Wenzelberger makes it look easy.
David Gonzalez drilling the extra point. He was 30 for 36 on PATs last season. 8:56 left in the second, 24-7. Augie, says Garrett Wenzelberger, on the touchdown or reception. First team all-conference selection a year ago. Wenzelberger first in the conference with 66 receptions. He was second in the conference with 11 receiving touchdowns. He was third in the conference, averaging about 77 receiving yards a game. Not to mention, he was tied for 38th in the nation in receptions per game at roughly 6 to 7 a contest. Well, he became another favorite target, as he was last year at Damascus. He was a favorite route that time around on that offensive drive that was successful for Concordia, as Damascus now 7 to 13 passing, 71 yards, a touchdown, and a pick.
That was a big confidence booster for the Falcons, Matt, because before this, Damascus passing completion attempts was at 3 and 9. Now it's at 7 and 13. This was exactly the boost they needed, was for him to connect to his receivers and get some yardage down there. And look at just how different the CUW offense performed just that drive alone.
Heck, already besides the 2 turnovers, Brynick's been out to punt 3 times in this game, but able to move down the field and capitalize for 7. And now this to be taken at the 10. Martin, there he goes across midfield. He breaks a tackle, cuts back in. Again, he's able to break free up near the 36. Nice return by Tyrell Martin to the 36-yard line. He's able to return it for 54 yards.
It's another matter here for the Falcons is once again broken tackles and giving the Augies a really big play that sets them up for the drive. A lot of these drives would have been stopped, Matt, if they did not let the Augies break for more than 10 yards. But the Augies have an uncanny ability to find a way to do it no matter what the Falcons throw at them.
Tyrell Martin, a nice addition to this lineup. Once upon a time, he played at Ridgewater Community College. Coming out with a 3-receiver set. 1st and 10, again, great starting field positioning from the Falcon 37. Scott's going to take off. Now throw on the go. That's complete up near the 17. And then some on a reception on the outside that was hauled on in. And that was brought in on the outside with Jerice Washington.
John Palazzi on the tackle there. Once again, John Palazzi having to step in there and bring the ball carrier down here before it's too late. That man must be tired of the amount of tackling he has done here today.
He's up to the 10-yard line where it's 1st and goal. Back in the red zone. Augie's 2 for 2 so far in red zone scoring chances. Scott, after the fake handout to Putt Rat, Scott turned around, spun around, dropped to the turf. Let's see for the Falcons. Moving now to the near side and substituting himself out is Ben Kentman, who came through with the tackle. But a 5-yard gain, and with 7:53 left here in the second quarter, it's 24-7 Augies, who have a 2nd and goal at the 5. Putt Rats, and now in motion with Adam Carl, the tight end to the right side. 3 receivers set. Maxwell in the backfield as well. Shifting over to the right is Putt Rats. And Maxwell gets the handoff. He fumbles the football in the north end zone. It's loose as anybody's football, and it's going to be up for grabs, and Augsburg has it for a touchdown. The ball came free for Maxwell, and the fumble recovery for Chad Thompson, the senior offensive lineman.
That's got to be frustrating for the Falcons right there, man. That was a golden opportunity to really shift the tempo back in your direction there. But it was, you said, it was anybody's football, and the Augies just got there first.
So the offensive lineman, Chad Thompson, falling on top of the pigskin in that foot race for the football in the north end zone. And the extra point is up and good. So a quick response by the Augies. The extra point by Oliver. 7:31 left here in the first half, and a 31-7 Augies advantage. Nearly a big break for Concordia. Nearly the 2nd Augies turnover.
As I said before, Matt, that was a golden opportunity for Falcons to really shift the momentum of this game. But the ball was just rolled right into the middle of the open field. As you said, it was anybody's ball at that point, and the Augies got there first. The Falcons had an opportunity that was literally stolen with them in a split second.
For of all folks, it's Thompson who was able to fall on top of the football, and then he made sure he held that football up in the air as he got mobbed by his teammates. Go figure. The offensive lineman, I'm sure he woke up, and I'm going to guess he was not thinking of a touchdown in this game, just simply making sure he provided some blocks and gaps for his ground game. And for Scott, only this time he gets involved in the scoring. Off the fumble by Maxwell, nearly had his 2nd rushing touchdown of the game. It's a 24-point lead for Augsburg College. Evans toward the east sideline, back near the 10, near side. You have Paul. Here's a bouncer of a kickoff that again is going to fly out for the illegal procedure, so the ball is going to be brought back out. Second time we've now seen that on the kickoff by Searle. Right now, the Falcons in the game, team-wise. Offensively, they have run the ball 28 times, 106 yards, but they've given up 28 plays for 267 yards. 2 penalties on each side. Hasn't been significant. Been a couple of costly penalties, though. But hasn't been horrendous. You tend to see and tend to expect a number of mistakes these first couple of weeks of the season. But so far, pretty clean first half. What hasn't been clean has been the turnover statistic. And again, Falcons with 2, Augies with 1, but it could be a couple of more on each side. Handoff Evans. Evans trying to get to the edge. Now cuts back. Evans. He was then finally met by Michael Jabarian. Got some help from Enrico Barrazzo. It takes those two to finally wrestle Evans down. He is marked at the 39-40, a pickup of 5. It's going to be second down and 5. Next snap of the football as the Falcons come out with Cody Johnson, Dylan Krivershine up the left side of that offensive line. Near side, you have James Saunders and Garrett Wenzelberger. Evans slot left with Tomaszki back in shotgun. Fake handoff to Evans. Tomaszki steps up. He's going to try to sneak through, but that sandwich is delivered after he's trying to split the pair. He then was sandwiched with the lead tackle from Lincoln Biggs. Biggs along with Chris Devitt, who has been pretty active in this first half. Three-yard loss. It's third down and 8. This from the 42. Tomaszki steps up, throws. That's complete for a first down across midfield. Saunders with the catch, the tackle from Marcus Townsend. Chain gang moving after a 10-yard pickup and a fresh set of downs for the Falcons.
Falcons needed that one. Once again, Tomaszki's starting to run out of time here a lot sooner than he would like to, but he got the pass off that time as his offensive line held for that extra split second. That makes all the difference.
Falcons with 7 first downs compared to the Augies 13. Another fake handoff to Evans, who's open in the middle of the field, but Tomaszki doesn't see him. Tomaszki now rolling to his right, throws on the go. It's low, but from his knees, catch made up near the 34 by Saunders, who was quickly then met on the play by Avery Dorsett.
Excellent read there by Austin Tomaszki. Excellent job there by Saunders to get low to give Tomaszki a target where he could throw through the defensive backs without leaving a chance for an interception there.
And a first down pickup to the 35. Again, coming out with a 4-receiver set. 5:38 and counting here in the second. Tomaszki throws near side. That's tipped. Trying to find Wenzelberger. It looked like getting a piece of it did Spencer Corey, although maybe not intentional, but right place to help disrupt that connection with Wenzelberger. Quickly, LeCurt Evans comes to the nearest sideline. He's being replaced in the Falcon lineup by Shea Klitsky. Clock stop with 5:36 to go in the second. 31-7 Augsburg. Able to jump in front. They were up 17-0 after 1. Tomaszki again finds Wenzelberger. He cuts in. Wenzelberger trying to hang out of the football. He will up to the 25. He's going to gain 11 up to the 24. He'll move the chain gang. They stay busy here this afternoon. Fresh to the downs, the Falcons continue to move that football, and they have now on their last couple of offensive drives.
Excellent idea there to go to Garrett Wenzelberger on a quick short yardage play there, throwing to his numbers, because usually this is the idea of Wenzelberger just reaching up and grabbing a long pass. Instead, they went the short route. Wenzelberger proves he can do it just as good that way.
Klitsky gets the hand up, but he stumbles up the middle. You can see when he got that hand off his footing. A little bit off, but still able to work his way up and give him about a yard or two. Call it second down, 8 yards to go. They had 2 backs that time with Evans and Klitsky flanking Tomaszki, who's now going to go back to a 4-receiver set. You have Saunders, Johnson, and Krivershine on the left side. Near side, Wenzelberger. Tomaszki steps up. He fires over the middle. Looking for Saunders. He goes flying in the air. That one over the hand and head of Saunders. Trying to make an improbable Superman-like catch after he was seeing some coverage upfield again with Felix Coleman. They've been looking to test Coleman a few times now in that secondary.
And it's a shame for Saunders, because Saunders has proven that he is a pretty acrobatic player when it comes to catching a pass over his shoulder there. But In this case, Matt, he was just a step a little bit behind the pass.
Saunders caught at least 3 passes in the final 8 games of last season. So far in this one has 2 catches for a total of 20 yards. Just missed what would have been a touchdown reception, or at least close to. And now on 3rd down and 8, Damaski's going to keep it to the 20. He looks to run over the defense, but instead, staying on their ground. Again, the combo of Dorsett and Barrazzo. They give Damaski a couple of yards, and now you face 4th down. Looking to get points on the board. And so the Falcons turn to David Gonzalez. Gonzalez, 6 of 8 on field goals last year. In all, he registered 48 points with his kicking ability. The near hash mark at the 28. This is a 38-yard field goal try, and Gonzalez just got enough. He was watching that one anxiously to see if it would cross that crossbar. It did, off the Falcon hold by Cody Johnson.
That was a bit of a nail biter there, man. That was a very wobbly kick. It wasn't entirely sure where that one was going to land. It just cleared the crossbar.
So tack on 3 more points. Gonzalez last year, he was 3 for 3 between 20 and 29 yards. He was 2 for 3 between 30 and 39 yards, and he was 1 for 2 between the 40 and the 49. As long as a 41, he had 1 field goal blocked. Did not attempt a field goal nor make a field goal last year against the Augies. He does here to make it 31-10 Augsburg with 3:56 to go till halftime. And again, remember, the Augies get the football first to begin the 3rd quarter, 2nd half after winning the coin flip, but deferring.
So the Falcons here had a bit of a heartbreaker there on that drive. Augies have had the most momentum in their favor here. Now, scoring another touchdown would have been a good way to slow the bleeding, but the Augies defense here, just as tough as the offense, slowing down the Falcons' drive.
But the fact of the matter is, Nathan, that's back-to-back drives. The Falcons have put points up on the scoreboard. Now you need a defensive stop, but points are being put up on the board, and again, starting to build more and more confidence as this team is able to move the football down the field, something they're not able to do on their first, something like 5 possessions. Off the return here with Tyrell Martin. He's tripped up. Martin tripped up at the 24, 25-yard line. Looked like he got tripped up by Joe Paul, who's slowly getting back to a standing position as he walks back to the line of scrimmage. It's an active start as well. So with 3:52 to go in this 2nd quarter, back out comes Scott. Offensively right now, this is an Augsburg team that has produced a total of 267 offensive yards. They have 13 first downs, and again, they've done a nice mixture on the ground, in the air. Keeping this Falcon defense at times guessing. This time the handoff complete to Washington. Last time he fumbled. This time no such problem as Dustin Velboom on the Concordia tackle. Washington to the 30-yard line. He gets 5. It's 2nd down and 5. Already the Augies have utilized 5 different backs in the backfield. With 3:20 and counting here in the 2nd. Right now, Scott rolling, throwing on the go. That's complete up to the 40, across the 45, before being forced out of bounds. So a reception for Adam Carl. He was then forced out on the play by Ben Kempen. Adam Carl, the tight end who had 53 receptions for 640 yards, 8 touchdowns last year. Coming in as D3Football.com All-American First Teamer. He was a D3Football.com All-West region in both 2011 and 2012. He was also first-team All-Conference both of those seasons, and a preseason All-American by 3 different publications. From the 46, Maxwell. Going to get to the 49 for a gain of 3. Lane Lawson on the tackle for the Falcons. Lawson, a 5'9", 225-pound junior linebacker out of Tucson, Arizona. 2nd down and 7. Give it 4 rushers. They have Adam Carl listed as a a rusher in the stat program. He was credited with that touchdown that went the route of Thompson. For the time being, they have Scott listed as the touchdown recipient, so in turn being credited with a rush because he recovered the fumble in the end zone. That will be, I'm sure, corrected by halftime when they got a chance to catch their breath over in the stat box as Sonnenfeld able to make the catch. That's to the 35. So he's able to pick up a good 17. The inside of 2 minutes left here in the second, and another fresh for the Dons. And again for the Falcon defense, looking to come up with a stop, but it's even more critical because you don't want to give up points right before halftime, realizing the Augies get the football first to perhaps score even more to start that third. That would be a lethal combo. Already with a hill to climb, down 3 scores. On the reception by Adam Carl, the senior tight end.
Very different look here for the Augies here. The Augies, I mentioned before, had most of their scoring plays based on large gain plays. Here they've been chipping away at the CUW defense on this drive.
And the Falcons take their first to 3 timeouts here in this first half. That stopped the clock with 1:33 left here in the second, and a 31-10 Augies advantage of the game. Who's just joining us, that was delayed close to a couple of hours. Seems like that has been the case when these teams have hooked up here in Mequon. Mother Nature has not been too kind, and it wasn't looking all that good as though this game would get in. They had to get this game started by 3 o'clock. Otherwise, it would have been postponed until 12 noon tomorrow because for this officiating crew, some of these guys have another game to officiate yet here tonight. They will be at Wisconsin Lutheran to officiate the Wisconsin Lutheran Ripon game. That will be, and certainly when you look at the forecast, a guarantee. But they had to get this one started, finally able to do so. But otherwise, they were looking at yet another postponement possibility after these two also faced about a 2-hour weather delay 2 years ago when Augsburg came here and won a thriller by 3. Well, your thoughts so far, Nathan, as we continue to watch this first half play on, what you have seen from this Concordia offense, from this Concordia defense. Again, the defense had the more question marks coming in compared to the offense with the number of playmakers back.
Well, you touched on it, Matt. The first 3 drives by the Augies were really the deciding factor here in this first half here, Matt. In those 3 drives, the Augies took the ball, they drove it downfield, they took advantage of a turnover in one of them, and they set the tone with a 17-0 score.
As Putt Rats is going to be stopped just shy of the north end zone. Again, a couple of those turnovers helped set up those 3 offensive drives.
It's very, very true, Matt. And those 3 drives really set the tone here because you mentioned it, you touched on it. Austin Damashki finding his rhythm now. They've got some points on the board here, but when you're down by 17 points to start, that is already a very, very insurmountable challenge to answer here. And the Augies just set themselves pretty here, and I've been just building on it throughout the second quarter.
Yeah, looking good here at 1st and goal at the 1. Putt Rats, Maxwell, and Scott in your backfield. Scott gives it to Maxwell, hangs on to the football, crosses the goal line, and Maxwell has the touchdown, gets across that goal line into the north end zone. And so Tyler Maxwell now with a couple of rushing scores. This from a yard out, and with exactly a minute left here in the second quarter, it's now 37-10 Augies.
The Falcons defense, you mentioned it, Matt, not 2 sentences ago, had a lot of question marks coming into the season, and you can see why here. They just cannot seem to hold the Augies back. Yes, Ayrton Scott is a formidable play caller, but at the same time, you have to find an answer, some solution you want to stay in this game.
As Oliver drills the extra point, it should be, though, credited to the Augies. They have a number of playmakers back, too. Much like the Falcons, a lot of positives to brag about for the Augies offensively. Plus, you get a couple of your top backs back from injury. That has all played well. Plus, you have the tight end and much decorated career of senior Adam Carl back in the mix. Scott, where does he go from what he was able to accomplish during that freshman campaign? Where can he go from his freshman to sophomore campaign? He's already set the standards awfully high. Anything less, at this point, the dual threat quarterback finishing his freshman campaign ranked 3rd in the country in total offense. He was named a first-team all-conference selection. He was named a D3Football.com All-West Region third-team honoree. In fact, when you look at those 2 accolades that came his route, he was one of only 2 first-year players to see his name on both of those lists. And he came into this season as a must-watch player, as a 2013 preseason All-American, second-teamer by Beyond Sports Network. And so on the kickoff, by Searle. It's taken inside the 10. Paul near the 8 gets across the 30, up across the 35, and to the 38 for about a 30-yard return. Well, 53.1 seconds to work with for Greg Etter's team, plus a couple of timeouts. Down 38-10. Falcon football back in action. Program that dates back to 1980. The Augies, history dating back to 1926.
Leatherhead era, Matt.
And you see the catch made by LaCurt Evans. Flag will fly in and appear to be a late hit. Evans was already down, and then, well, just for good measure anyways, the Augies, that with Qua Win, a freshman defensive lineman, and indeed, it is Win with that late hit, that personal foul.
That's a gift basket right there for the Falcons. That's an automatic first down and much better field position, giving Austin Damashki 45 seconds to go halfway to the end zone.
After the Augies 46, go to the pigskin, back out with 4 receivers. LaCurt Evans, slot right. Damashki looks to his left, completes the pass to Cody Johnson. Johnson spins. He is tackled across the 40. As he was tackled on the play by Andy Hadia, the sophomore defensive back. Second down, couple of yards to go from the 39. Evans now slot left. Damashki looking left, but see a flag fly in the play clock. Not sure it ever reset. Would have been a delay of game. And apparently the second Falcon timeout not being taken, so if it did reset, it was nearing 0, and the Falcons able to burn a timeout before delay penalty came against. Not to mention the game clock at 12 seconds. So a timeout to work with, perhaps a shot or two to the end zone. When you look in right now at, boy, a good 56-yard field goal, and I'm going to guess you don't even try. So maybe a try or two to the end zone if you're Damashki, you can get that time to throw, or get a quick pass to one of the nearest sideline to get yourself in field goal range, get that quick timeout. Try to tack on some points before the break. This has been a second quarter that so far has seen Augsburg score 21. They've given up 10 after being up 17-0 after 1.
The Falcons need to come away with something, Matt, here. The Augsburg has just too much momentum going into the locker room, and they're getting the ball back to start the third quarter. The Falcons need to come away with something to at least have something to go into the locker room with.
Do you think, though, they've built a lot of momentum over their last 2 offensive drives, able to put up points as mentioned on the board as Evans brings it in, but that's going to be short. Final 5 seconds taken down. He is knocked down near the 34, and with 3.7 seconds to go, the third and final timeout being utilized by the Falcons. The ball being placed at the 34-yard line near hash mark, and the final timeout right here. So over the middle, but it was a short pass. Still looking at close to a 52-yarder, and we see no movement whatsoever as you'd expect from David Gonzalez. And so the Falcons, one shot here to the south end zone. They have a first down and 10 when play resumes, 3.7 seconds to go till halftime. I believe it's going to be an abbreviated halftime after the lengthy weather delay that delayed the start of this game. As the Falcons will come out, Saunders, Johnson will be on the left side of the offensive line along with Wenzelberger near side. You see Peter Morton. And then Evans slot right. Damashki in shotgun with 3.7 seconds to work with, down 38-10. Gets some time. Damashki airs it. This is going to be short to the 5-yard line where it's picked off again. Second interception of the game for Hakeem Bourne-McFarland. Third Falcon turnover. 3-1 is the turnover differential through one half of play in favor of the Falcons. And again, because we're going to have an abbreviated halftime, it appears the Falcons will stay out here on the field for the break. Looks like right now halftime's going to be about 10 minutes longer or so, so stay tuned. We'll come back with the start of the third quarter in the second half. Right now it's 38-10 in favor of the Augsburg College Augies. This is Falcon Football on the Concordia Sports Network. Welcome back to Tomasini Stadium on the Concordia University campus here in Mequon, Wisconsin. This is the season opener of the 2013 college football campaign for both the Concordia University of Wisconsin Falcons and the Augsburg College Augies. And right now, through one half of play, after a nearly two-hour weather delay, 38-10 Augies. Checking out the first half scoring, Brandon Oliver was able to put the Augies on the board, capping off a 7-play, 79-yard drive that took up 3 minutes and 8 seconds by knocking in a 25-yard field goal. Joey Sonnenfeld and an 18-yard touchdown reception from Araton Scott. Oliver with the extra point. A drive that lasted 4 plays, 39 yards, took up 1 minute and 17 seconds to make it 10-0. And then Scott with a 21-yard rushing touchdown. Oliver the extra point. A 2-play, 34-yard drive that took up 40 seconds. Augies are up 17-0 after one. In the second quarter, it was Tyler Maxwell, a 1-yard rushing touchdown. Oliver the extra point. A drive that lasted 3 minutes, 14 seconds, 9 plays, 56 yards covered to make it 24-0. Falcons on the scoreboard thanks to a Garrett Wenzelberger 3-yard touchdown reception from Austin Damashki. David Gonzalez the extra point. 8 plays, 71 yards, 2 minutes and 59 seconds to make it 24-7. But then it was Chad Thompson after Maxwell fumbled the football in the end zone. Thompson won the foot race into the north end zone, fell on top of the pigskin for the fumble recovery and the touchdown. Oliver the extra point. 3 plays, 37 yards, taking up 1 minute and 16 seconds to make it 31-7 Augies. David Gonzalez knocked in a 38-yard field goal to cap off a lengthy yet successful Falcon drive that covered 10 plays, 44 yards, 3 minutes and 35 seconds off the clock. And then right before the break, Tyler Maxwell, the minute left in the second quarter, a 1-yard rushing touchdown. Brandon Oliver, the extra point, 7 plays, 75 yards, taking up 2 minutes and 52 seconds, 38-10. Our score in a second quarter that would see the Augies outscore the Falcons, 21-10. Augsburg gets the football first to begin this third quarter and the second half after winning the coin flip, but deferring what was an abbreviated 10-minute halftime. Glad you could join us here via the Concordia Sports Network alongside Nathan Kerner, Matt Menzel, and Hannah, our great crew here inside the press box from Tomasini Stadium, all waiting out this lengthy weather delay for some. They have been here for 5+ hours, all anticipating the start of this 2013 season. The Falcons will kick it off to start this third quarter. And here we go. So Brynick will knock it all the way back to the 5. On the catch made by Putratz. Putratz to the outside. He's going to be forced out up near the 21 for a return of 16. Now, Nathan, that first half, the Augies ran 35 offensive plays, 342 offensive yards.
The Augies have so many weapons here, Matt, as we mentioned before, but the Falcon defense really needs to draw a line in the sand and really play tough this third quarter here because the offense is finding their footing. The defense needs to follow suit because in 3 drives, it was 17-0, and that is just a very hard obstacle to try to climb back over here. The Falcons need to draw a line in the sand here defensively and make some stops.
Just joining us again. 2 out of those 3 drives, aided by a couple of Falcon turnovers as the pass goes incomplete looking, was Scott for Carl. In fact, a couple of interceptions in that first half by Akeem Bourne McFarland. The Falcons turned the ball over 3 times. Augies once. Nearly a second costly turnover from the end zone that really would have swayed momentum. But again, Thompson was able to fall on top of the pigskin to keep momentum and the Augies in that driver's seat through one half of play. Falcons have not started a season 1-0 since 2006, and they found themselves with a mighty hill to climb, down 4 touchdowns. Looking to come through with a defensive stop that eluded them in the first half. It's second down and 10 from the 21. Scott on the handoff, and the tackle made quickly by Lane Lawson. He comes through with the tackle off the run by Maxwell. Now the Falcons had 40 total offensive plays for 162 yards. Time of possession in favor of the Falcons, 15 minutes and 12 seconds. To the Augies, 14 minutes and 48 seconds. It's now third down. The Augies only 2 for 3 on third down conversion. Only 3 third downs faced, all first half long. Into cover 9. It's third down and 9 from the 22. Scott steps up, throws over the middle, and a great route run as Sonnenfeld able to make the catch for the first down pickup up to the 41. He's able to pick up 19. That's the Augies' 18th first down of the game.
The Augies have this ability just to keep getting first downs here. The Falcons have been trying to keep the Augies from getting plays where they break for over 10 yards, but they just have this ability to keep getting them. And I mentioned before, the CUW defense needs a stop here. They need a morale booster sometime this quarter.
Boy, and that hurts too when, again, on third down, you get that far along and they cannot make that much-needed stop. But again, 75% of the time now, the Augies have been successful in converting on third down. From the 41, Scott rolling. Here comes pressure by Paul. He bounces off Scott, who then is forced out by McDermott. Paul right there had the angle, and then Scott just, again, turned it up to another gear, was able to, allow Paul to make contact, not enough to really alter Scott's route. It was McDermott that forced him out. Also over there for the Falcons defensively on the chase was Taylor Whitty, the senior defensive lineman out of Milwaukee. Scott, in the first half alone, he carried the ball 8 times, 107 net yards, and a touchdown. Again, a 63-yard run, his longest in that first quarter. Scott's going to take off here, and he's going to be wrapped up. He's going to be dropped. Whitty on the tackle, up at the 40-yard line for a gain of 3. That brings up another third down and 11.
Falcons here starting to make some stops here. They're starting to get wise to Ayrton Scott's game. The hard part is just how quick Ayrton Scott is on the run. You give him just that little bit of space, he'll break off you and run here. But the Falcons, 2 plays in a row, managing to give him just that little bit of pressure to either force him out or put him down here. Let's see if they can do it on third down.
Well, moments ago, the Augies converted on third down and 9. Here it's third down and 11 from the 40-yard line. Scott with 4 receivers, looking left, throws left, and it's going to be over the head of Sonnenfeld. Looking for Sonnenfeld, but instead finding his own sideline. Did Scott? Scott in the first half, 10 of 15 passing, 163 yards. A touchdown, interception, and 27 yards. His longest completion. Well, here's an oddity. For the first time all game, the Augies in punt formation.
I honestly believe every third down can be a big third down, Matt, but that was huge for the Falcons defense. They needed to stop the Augies, and as you mentioned, this is the first time they're putting. We'll see what happens, but this can really give the Falcons some ammunition here.
With Paul back to receive, he plays it off the hop near the 19. That bounced to him. He had nothing. There's really nothing he could do. He was looking like he was going to maybe try to fair catch or get out of the way, but that one bounced right to where he was moving, and as opposed to giving the Augies a better spot on special teams to down that football, put it off that hop, taking it back to the 25 off the punt that was handled by Sonnenfeld. He's the punter for the Augies, a new kicker, new punter here this season for Augsburg. So from the 25 go the Falcons. They get their first defensive stop of the afternoon. And so they avoid giving up a couple of scores, one to end the first half, one to start the second half. As Damashki up to the 30. They gave up that touchdown to end the first half, but again, bounce back here to start this third quarter. As we've had 3 minutes go by, it's 38-10, Augsburg.
Well, the stop was big for the Falcons. The Falcons could not afford to be scored again so soon in this third quarter, being down by 28, and they needed to force the Augies to punt because just for morale purposes here. So let's see if the offense can follow suit.
With 3 receivers, Evans being used as a extra blocker. Catch was made quickly by Cody Johnson, but he was also quickly dropped as Jabarian got his money's worth on the tackle.
Jabarian caught it. Cody Johnson caught it in midair here, and he could have easily gained another 5 yards had he caught it and got some room to run here. That was an excellent defensive play to force a third down.
Jabarian with the lone sack in that first half also has 7 total tackles, 2 of which for a loss. Catch made by Sunders, but he's quickly met near the 32. Catches are there, but so is the Augies defense. Tackle made with Pei Tengben, the senior defensive back out of Minnesota.
2 excellent defensive plays in a row that could have easily been gains for the Falcons here, reduced and forcing another punt here for the Falcons.
That's just, again, a great open field tackle because, again, if that stop isn't made, if the hit isn't provided by Tengben, if the Falcons are able just to even lunge or spin free for a split moment, it's a first down pickup. Instead, it's 4th down and 2. So Tengben with a big tackle for the Augies, and the Falcons again forced to punt. This now the fourth punt by Brynick. This from the 16, dropped and finally picked back up by Martin. Martin then is stopped at the 20. Downfield, the tackle made by Shannon Smith. Shannon Smith had an interception in the first half. That's the lone Augies turnover, but we do have a penalty flag after, again, Martin was brought down. Martin may have seen some of his face mask grabbed onto. Although Erickson Say was out there too, and he was saying something to the official and pointing toward his face mask as he went back toward the east sideline. That's going to be a penalty against the Augies. They've called the face mask against Augsburg and trying to provide a block and buy more time for Tyrell Martin. Penalty's not a factor in that first half. Only 4 combined for a total of 37 yards, 20 of which went against Concordia. This drive begins from the 20. And Scott across the 20 up near the 21. McDermott on the tackle. He got some help, though, from Brett Waldorf.
Falcons there almost let Ayrton Scott get away here. McDermott, though, excellent reaction. They're giving Ayrton Scott less and less room with each passing drive, Matt.
I'm trying to figure out what that penalty was all about. Still trying to get clarification. Because, again, this is still a drive that sees the ball, or at least starting at that 20. And so here from the 22, it's second down. Or from the 21, it's second down and 9. Catch made by Washington. Washington up to the 31 for a gain of 9. That's a first down pickup for the Augies. From a receiving standpoint in the game thus far, Augsburg has seen Sonnenfeld with 5 catches, Carl with 3, Washington now with 3. Putratz has a catch for 21 yards. First down and 10 from the 31-yard line. You got to believe if you're the defensive coordinator, Adam Walker, right now, some anxious moments looking for your defense to respond again. Quickly, they're back on the field after what was a very quick Falcon offensive sequence. We approach 9 minutes left here in the third. Putratz, he's tripped up by Paul. Nearly got away from Paul, but extra effort by Paul to trip up Putratz. He's able to get up to the 35. Look at it, second down, 6 yards to go. So a 4-yard gain. Putratz among 5 that have been credited with gains or at least carries in this game. Part of that carry at 5 for 33 yards, but Scott leading the way with 11 for 107. And now Maxwell. And on second down at about 6. Looks like he gained nothing. So it's going to be third down. In fact, you're looking at about third down and 70, maybe even gone backwards based on that spot back near that 34. And right now, off the sideline for the Augies comes Tyrell Martin. They bring him out. They take out Tyler Maxwell. So look for Martin in that backfield. In fact, he is one of the backs back there for the Augies, along with Putratz, coming out with a 3-receiver set. Putratz sliding over to the left of Scott. Scott seeing some pressure, rolling to his right. Flag's going to come flying in, and it's incomplete. Off the hands of Washington. It was underthrown off of Washington's hands after Scott was chased by Waldorf.
It was a holding penny against the Augies. I think the Falcons are going to decline and force a fourth down.
Boy, if you're Adam Walker, you got to be pleased with the response of your defense to start this second half. It is, in fact, holding, and it is, in fact, declined.
Looks like on that left side of the O-line, buying Ayrton Scott that little bit of extra time he needed.
It's a Falcon defense in the first half, led by John Palazzi, 6 tackles. Dustin Velboom had 4. Lane Lawson had 3, and then Joe Paul with 3, plus a tackle for a loss. But forced to punt for a second time in the game, second time in this third. With the extra protection, Sonnenfeld gets rid of it. And this is going to fly out of bounds. Out of bounds at the, let's see where they mark it out, at midfield. 50-yard field to work with for Austin Damascus in the first half. Was 12 of 21 passing, 121 yards, a touchdown, plus a couple of interceptions. He was sacked once, utilized 4 receivers. He ran the ball 8 times. Also got Evans and Klitsky involved for combined 11 carries. 7:36 left here in the third. It's 38-10. Augies. Pressure coming with the blitz on the outside. The option goes to Evans. Flag will fly in. And he's going to lose a yard. Unable to get back to that 50. Knocked back to the 49. And again, the blitz on the outside came by way of Denzel Anderson. Penalty starting to pick up here in the third. Holding against the Falcons, backing up even more so. A 10-yard penalty on the hold. That's going to be knocked back to the 40. You're looking at first down and 20. Klitsky coming from the near Falcons sideline. Out goes James Saunders. Check that. Saunders will be used as one of the 3 receivers. Klitsky slot left. Evans slot right. Those 2 flank Damascus. Klitsky gets the hand up the middle. There he goes. To the outside across midfield. Able to gain 12 before being tackled on the play. There is a burst of speed and energy the Falcons have been looking for to jumpstart this offense here in the second half. Tackle made by Felix Coleman. So after the holding penalty, able to get those 10 yards back plus 2 more, making it a manageable second down and 8. Klitsky slot left, Evans slot right, shotgun with, again, Damascus being flanked. Johnson, Saunders to the left, Wenzelberger to the right side, handoff, this time with very little success. A loss of a couple on the run by Klitsky. He was met on the play by Spencer Corey. Corey from Baldwin Woodville High School in Baldwin, Wisconsin. So Klitsky will head to the sideline now. Out there is Morton. Again, a kicker, a punter from Albany, Georgia. But expect to line up as a wide receiver here this season. He'll be among the 4 receivers with Evans slot right on third down and 10. All kinds of pressures. Damascus gets rid of it, and Wenzelberger trying to hang on, but they're going to say incomplete.
I believe Wenzelberger's upper body was out of bounds when he caught the ball, Matt. That was the deciding factor there.
Heck of an effort, but even with that catch, had he been able to hang on, had it been a completion, I'm not sure he would have picked up the first down. It may have been about a yard shy. Either way, it doesn't matter because it brings up fourth down and 10 with the incomplete call, and with 6:07 to go here in the third. Both teams have had the ball twice. Both teams have failed to find success in moving the football. And now Brynick, he will get rid of it. And Brynick will see it taken from the 6. Martin, and he's going to be tackled up at the 18-yard line, give him close to 11, 12-yard return. But pinned back near the, well, now the outside official gives him the 20, so knocked back to the 20-yard line are the Augies. The offense of last year, Nathan, again, balanced. When you look at Scott being that dual threat, he bursted on scene. They exceeded anybody's wildest expectations. But this is an offense that, for the most part, was able to put up roughly 38 points a game. They allowed about 28 points a game. Had about 471 offensive yards a contest. And now Maxwell is stopped up at the 29-yard line. Give him a 9-yard gain. When we say 471 offensive yards, you know, 239 rushing, 233 passing, and with that dual threat ability and that Wildcat offense that we see from the Augies, became a tough offense for many opponents to figure out because, again, they do such a great job of keeping you off balance and keeping you guessing what they may do every snap of the ball.
Very, very true, Matt. And right now, they've hiccuped a little bit, but they're still making some very good gains and executing some excellent plays here on these drives where they were forced to punt.
Punt wrapped into the yard, but unable to gain that yard. Falcon get the tackle by way of Dustin Velboom. Coming over to help out for good measure was Wichero Sheridan, the senior defensive lineman. Sheridan out of Fort Myers, Florida. He's back yet another year. Last year able to come through, played 9 games, made 3 starts, had 16 tackles, including 4.5 for a loss. That a loss of a yard. 3rd down and 2. Been stopped twice in these situations already. Going to be awfully close, and the outside officials giving them the first down. They've given the Augies a first down gain. On the run by Maxwell. So they move the chain gang downfield. Needed 2 and got about 2.5. Ball is touching the 30-yard line. Falcons will sub in. Robert Pickin, the sophomore defensive lineman from Chicago. Augies have Washington as one of the 2 receivers near side. 3 backs joining Scott. Although they get one of their tight ends, Carl, in motion. Scott rolls and just dumps it off, complete to Putt Rats. And then Putt Rats' tackle. Whole slew of Falcons to come through with the Concordia stoppage. The Falcons among those in that grouping. You have Aaron Kraffel and John Palazzi. Kraffel in a sophomore campaign from Iowa. 3:37 left here in the third quarter. 38-10 Augsburg. They were up 17-0 after 1. Outscored the Falcons 21-10 in the second to open up this now 28-point advantage. 2nd down in the yard with Carl in motion. There's Scott, and there he goes. And he's going to take it 61 yards to the end zone. A 61-yard rushing touchdown for Ayrton Scott into the south end zone, his 2nd rushing touchdown of the game. That's still 2 yards shy of his 63-yarder. Not a touchdown, but run that came just shy of the goal line back in the first quarter.
Augsburg been a little slower paced here on the offense, Matt, but Ayrton Scott showing that just because they're moving the ball a little slower doesn't mean they can't be capable of big plays right there. And Ayrton Scott, once again, taking just the tiniest inch the Falcons gave him and turning it into a big, big play.
And Oliver knocks in the extra point off the Augies hold by way of Scott Broussard. And with 3:09 left here in the third, it's now 45-10. Augies off a 2nd TD for Scott. Now, the Falcon defense last year gave up over 400 yards to the Augies in that aforementioned loss from Minneapolis, Minnesota, 41-20. Scott, 113 rushing yards alone, 139 in the air. He recorded 7 double-digit runs, including 3 long runs on the opening drive, and he just picked his moments in this game to take off and run, and thus far he's carried the ball 13 times, 176 yards for 2 touchdowns. He's also thrown for 200. 13 of 21 with a touchdown and an interception for an offense that has run 51 plays already with 397 yards to the Falcons' 180.
And the Falcons here just they try to throw everything they can at Ayrton Scott, with the exception of a few drives where he was forced to punt here. They have just impeccably found a way to move that ball downfield, not just through Ayrton Scott, but through the very many weapons, be it Putritz or Sonnenfeld or any of the other backs and receivers who have been just moving this ball all across this field with near impunity.
Yeah, Putt Rats and Sonnenfeld, as you mentioned in the mix. Maxwell back from injury. And a short kick is going to be taken on the bounce. Well, it's going to bounce right by LaCurt Evans. He went to bring it up near the 25, but lets it bounce out. That's the 3rd illegal procedure penalty against the Augies off the kickoff. Off the kickoff against Brandon Searle. 3:08 left here in the third, 45-10 Augies. And Scott again making his presence be known against this Falcon defense. Now this strong showing, he's had runs of 63 yards, now a 61-yard run that goes for a touchdown. That go along with his 21-yard touchdown run he had with 5:01 left in the first quarter. Falcons have had the ball twice. They've had a punt twice here in the third. They have punted 5 times now in the game to go along with 3 turnovers. A couple of interceptions thrown by Damashki. And the Falcons asking for a redo. If the ball gets knocked back off, the illegal procedure penalty knocked back to the 30 for the kickoff. Again, to be handled by Brandon Searle. Evans, he's one of the 2 backs to receive. Falcons mixing it up, though. We do not see Paul back there. Instead, Concordia positioning Shannon Smith back at the 20. Searle goes that route, taken from the 20. Shannon Smith spins to the 40, up to the 45, and close to midfield.
Almost poetic justice there, Matt. The Augies called CUW's bluff, and they called it right back. Shannon Smith giving the Falcons excellent field position here, and they need it right now.
A nice 29-yard return for the sophomore defensive back out of Brandon, Florida. 3:02 to go here in the third, and a 45-10 lead again for the Augies. The Maschke has Evan slot right coming back out with that 3-receiver set. You have Saunders and Wenzelberger on this left side. Over the middle, though, catch complete to Johnson. Johnson across the 45, near hash mark, up to the 42. That's going to go for a 9-yard gain. Tackle made by Jabarian.
Once again, the Augies stop the Falcons just shy of where they want to go there, though in this case, Johnson managed to find that open field he has been looking for all day.
Second down and a yard. From the Augies 42, Damaschke rolling right, now steps up, throws. That's complete. Bullet of a pass caught by Saunders across the 35. He's dropped near the 34. The combination, Marcus Townsend along with Pei Tengben on the tackle for the Augies. Ball to 35 for a first down gain.
Falcons here, much needed first down here. Every drive counts now when you're down 45-10 here. And they've got their first down here. Damaschke needs to come alive and show some of that magic that the Falcons showed in the second quarter.
Klitsky slot right, Evans in motion. Now Klitsky slot left. Now it's Saunders in motion to this west sideline. He'll be one of the 4 receivers. He's on this left side along with Johnson. Evans now in motion. He takes the handoff. He tries to turn the corner. He'll do just that. Now looking about to the outside after the block by Saunders. And then as he was trying to cut back and again stop over one defender, he couldn't quite break free as the tackle made by Pei Tengben.
Would have been a much different play there had Saunders not fallen down there on the block at the 30-yard line. Kurt Evans would have had the sideline all to himself. But once again, the Augies managing to push through and stop the Falcons just shy of where they want to be.
Right now they're back at the 31, facing a second down and good 7 yards to go. Fake handoff to Evans. Damaschke steps up. Look out from behind. He gets rid of it just in the nick of time. Goes to the end zone. It's going to be incomplete after a couple of teammates take away what would have been an interception. Avery Dorsett had the for sure pick, but his own teammate knocked it out of his possession, that being Hakeem Bourne McFarland. He has 2 picks of his own. This time he denies his teammate an interception, and instead new life for the Falcons.
It's going on the blooper reel, Matt. There was a slight miscommunication there. Both of them were obviously looking for the ball, not for each other. And a godsend there for the Falcons as Wenzelberger had the ball coming in way behind him, way behind where he should have been.
On third down and 7. Damaschke is just going to take off as he found a gap and then covers up for dear life for the first down pickup up to the 24-yard line. We'll approach a minute left here in this third quarter.
Falcons making the most of that broken play on the Augies' hand, and they get their first down here. They're now inside the 25 here.
Johnson, curve shot up the right side, near side, Saunders and Wenzelberger. Evans slot left, Damaschke throws left, Wenzelberger makes the catch, trying to get some help from Saunders on the block, but able to break free was Dorsett to then force Wenzelberger out after, again, Saunders was looking to provide that block, but Dorsett was able to break free.
The Augies just keep breaking through the blocks here to make the tackle here. That's been frustrating the Falcons' offensive efforts here all day, Matt.
40-second to counting left here in the third, 45-10 Augsburg. Slot right is Evans. 3 receivers now for Damaschke, and again the blitz is on for the Augies, who have 1 sack in this game, but plenty of pressure to the veteran QB. Damaschke, who took over the starting quarterback duties in the 4th game of the 2011 season, yet to look back. Steps up and throws. Nice catch. That's hauled in by a new look in Brian Emo. Make that Josh Melkowski, the junior tight end. I say Emo because there were 2 number 30s, but the tight end number 30, Melkowski, he's a junior from Greenville, Wisconsin. We'll see Emo on the defensive side. He's a freshman.
There's a flag on the play. They were trying to find what that is. And It's coming back.
Guess what? Malkowski had an illegal man downfield. With 11.8 seconds left here in the third, so he comes in, makes the catch, but ineligible. And so the illegal receiver now leaving, being replaced by Dylan Krivershine. 3 receivers right side with Saunders, Johnson, and Krivershine. Near side, Wenzelberger, slot right, Evans with 11 seconds and counting now here in the third. Damaschke looks for the play call near sideline. Evans now going slot left. Final 5 seconds ticking down here in the third. Down to 3, down to 2, down to 1. Ball is snapped. Damaschke dumps it off. That's Evans after Damaschke dropped back. Evans cuts back to the right side. He's going to be met up near the 10-yard line. He's able to pick up a good 13.
Excellent screen there by the Falcons to try to make up for the ineligible man penalty there. Almost right back where they would have been had that play not gone through. But that's the end of the third quarter, and the Falcons here still need to just punch it into the end zone here. They have not yet to do that this half.
Giving up 7 points in the third, now trail 45-10. This is Falcon football on the Concordia Sports Network. On to the fourth quarter here in week number 1 of the Division III college football season. Augsburg College making the trip down from Minneapolis, Minnesota on top of the Concordia Falcons 45-10. On 1st and 10, ball's now at the 13, but getting knocked back is Damaschke. He's tackle on the play. The hit made for the Augies by way of Tanner Weissman. That's the way this fourth quarter gets underway. Damaschke right now 18 for 29 passing, 156 yards, a touchdown, couple of interceptions. Overall, the Falcons with 53 plays for 223 yards. They've had the ball for exactly 10 seconds more than Augsburg through 3 at 22 minutes and 35 seconds. Near side, Saunders makes the catch up near the 10, fights his way back to the 10 before being tackled by Marcus Townsend. Townsend with 5 tackles entering the fourth. And it brings up third down for the Falcons. Falcons 4 for 11 on third down conversions, but they're back inside the red zone where they are 1 for 1. In this game, Augies are 5 of 5. Evans slot left, 4 receivers again on third down and 7. Damaschke looking near side. He's run the ball 10 times, 32 net yards in the game. Evans with 9 carries, Klitsky with 5. It's going to be Damaschke running near side. Gap closes up and then somehow splits a pair, gets inside the 5. Going to be close. He needed 7. He may have picked up 7. He did. Falcons pick up their 15th first down. They've allowed 20. They set up a first and goal. 7-0 was the scoring differential in the third, but the Augies enhancing their lead to 35. Evans into the end zone for a Falcon touchdown. LeCurt Evans with the 3-yard rushing touchdown to the south end zone, but a flag down on the field. Thus far, the Falcons 1 touchdown of the game, a 3-yard reception by Garrett Wenzelberger, plus a 38-yard field goal by Gonzalez. And this is coming back off a false start against the Falcons. So far in the game, Falcons have been penalized 4 times for 35 yards. The Augies 3 times for 22 yards, but there is penalty number 5, and a costly one that takes away the 6 points.
Second one this drive, Matt, where the Falcons finally broke through, only to find a call back because of just procedural error on their part.
Evans now slot left, coming out with 3 receivers. Facing a first and goal, backed up at the 8. Saunders, Wenzelberger on the left side. Near side, you have Cody Johnson. Goodman snaps the ball. Handoff goes to Evans, up the right side. Now looking to break to the outside. He does. And this time, he'll get across the goal line. A little more effort that time for Kurt Evans, but nonetheless, the same result. 6 points, no flag down, and the touchdown stands.
Not just the same result, Matt. It was almost the exact same play here. Kurt Evans hitting it right, and we seem to have a player down here in Augsburg, but the Falcons finally able to punch it in after a very grinding drive.
Athletic training staff making the way from the east sideline. Felix Coleman, the Augie, down with his helmet flying off as well. 8-yard touchdown run for LaKurt Evans. Evans, last year coming through with a couple of rushing touchdowns. Doesn't seem like a ton. Still second best on the team. Damashki had 3 to lead the way. So Coleman back to his feet, able to walk off under his own power. That's at least this play out after the helmet came off. All part of the rules nowadays to protect football players in this day and age where concussions, head injuries have been a big topic of discussion at all levels of football. And now the extra point for David Gonzalez. Cody Johnson on the hold. The placement, the kick, and another point as the Falcons trail 45-17. So a touchdown run at 8 yards for LaKurt Evans. Certainly seeing a more significant role, and we'll see a more significant role with the ground game for the Falcons this season. Again, Falcons last year relying on Damashki, Evans, Paul, Carlton, Austin. That was their ground game. Mentioned Paul moving to the defensive side. The only other real key, if you will, playmaker lost, Eric West, a second-team all-conference selection, using up his eligibility. Otherwise, again, pretty much everybody back on this offense. Plus, you have Damashki back, who was a 2013 WFCA Private College Player of the Year and second-team all-conference selection, not to mention a NAC co-freshman of the year back in 2011. So the Falcons get their first points of this second half. And LaKurt Evans in the game. 10 carries. He has 27 yards. A couple of players back to receive for the Augies. They position Erickson Say, and looks like Phil Putranch back to receive this kickoff. And it's taken from the 12. Say to the 35. He's up near the 41. That off the Falcon kickoff by Hunter Brynick. 13-11 left here in the fourth quarter. Augies through 3. Have run 51 plays for 397 yards. Ayrton Scott again the story, and it's been the story for Augie fans all last year now, and then going on to now his 11th career collegiate game. Scott 13 for 21 passing, 200 yards, a touchdown and interception. He has run the ball 13 times, 176 net yards, and a couple of scores. Coming out with 3 receivers, couple of backs. Maxwell in motion. Maxwell to the 40, 45, tiptoeing the sideline, cuts back to the 45, 40, he fumbles the football. Falcons, plenty of blue all around, they have it. Second Augies turnover.
Falcons finally getting a stroke of luck here, Matt, in the fourth quarter here. That was just a play that could have been a big hurt for them, but the ball pops out, and unlike the touchdown fumble recovery, the Falcons swarmed that one.
Taylor Whitty recovering the fumble for Concordia. That's the second time now that we've seen Maxwell fumble the football away. The last time was in the end zone, but his teammate Thompson, the lineman, was able to fall on top of it in the north end zone for a score back in the second. From their own 39. Damashki, after Evans was the decoy, he goes down. He's able to get up near the 47, a gain of 8.
Maybe a minor point here, Matt, but I love how quickly the Falcon offense took the field after that. I mean, they're down 28, but they did not any shift of momentum here. They're going to just grab it and embrace it.
Trying to make that improbable comeback. Not a lot of time to work with, and even a stroke of luck with turnovers that come their route is Klitsky up to the 49 of the Augies. Picks up a couple on a Falcon first down. Checking the out-of-town scoreboard around what is now known as the Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference. Still the NAC. But now it's the NACC. You have Lake Forest beating Concordia Chicago 45-3. That a final. Damashki stepping up. He fires. Batted on down, trying to find Johnson. Batted down by Hakeem Bourne McFarland.
That was excellent pass coverage there, right there. Just made contact at the exact moment the ball came down to the receiver, avoiding the penalty. That was excellent coverage on the Augie side.
By the way, that a Concordia Chicago team that has a brand new coach, and for the most part, a new look team from that of the last couple of years that have seen the Cougars bring home back-to-back NAC championships. Illinois Wesleyan knocking off Aurora 48-21. No update from Waukesha, where Lakeland slated to play Carroll at 1 p.m. Catch made at the 45 by Wenzelberger, and the tackle made by Hadia. I'm going to venture to guess they were affected by weather as well. That from Carroll University. That Lakeland College Muskie team predicted to finish 6th out of 7 teams this season in the NAC. Let you know if we get any updates from that football game taking place again in Waukesha. Everything else taking place later on tonight. Some night action that also involves Rockford at UW-Stevens Point, Ripon at Wisconsin Lutheran. You have Wheaton, Illinois at Benedictine. Evans across the 40, 35-30, and he's across the 25 up near the 21-22. Tackle made by Enrico Barrazzo. First down, Falcons, just outside the red zone with 11:28 to go in the fourth, down 45-17. So Evans has become quite the threat for the Falcons to utilize. Damashki with that hurry-up offense. He's got some turf to maneuver. Looking to find the sideline. He'll find it as he crosses the 15 up near the 14-yard line, a gain of 7.
Damashki wise moving out there to stop the clock here on the out-of-bounds line. And LeCurt Evans in the previous play, he's a running back, but like I said, Damashki loves to pass. He's just another target out there, and he's a target who has amazing speed that's really helping to shift the direction of this game.
Now seeing the junior Josh Melkowski sub in. Evans, and he's tripped up inside the 5. First and goal coming up. So Evans with the latest Falcon run. Now the Falcons with a first and goal from the 4. Evans slot left. 4 receivers set. Damashki. And now Evans looking to fight his way again near the goal line. And now the Augies say he fumbled it. Do the officials agree? They do. It's Augsburg football. And the fumble recovery by Enrico Barrazzo. Able to come up with the football near the 1-yard line after it was coughed up by LeCurt Evans.
That is just a bitter taste in the mouth of the Falcons right there, man. As a second fumble by LeCurt Evans. And to be so close to the end zone and to have it happen then.
So Enrico Barrazzo coming through with what is the Falcons' 4th turnover of the game. Couple of fumbles and a couple of interceptions. But the senior linebacker able to pick up the football. On the fumble, it's first down and 10 at the 1 for the Augies. Scott finds Maxwell. He's fumbled the ball twice. One he lost. Able to get it out to the 10. A gain of 9. And now some more room to work with for the Augies offense. 10:05 and counting here in the fourth quarter. Getting for the Augies. And probably see offensively just pound, pound, pound as that clock in motion inside of 10 minutes. But enjoying a 28-point lead. And Scott across the 20. He was tripped up. The combo of Waldorf in the picture along with Lane Lawson. And the ball is spotted at the, well, it's just shy of the 21. About a hair shy of the 21-yard line. Either way, it's a fresh set of downs. Coming back out with 3 receivers, couple of backs for Scott to work with. That was 188 yards in this game, 188 plus. He'll take off again. He'll be tripped up near the 30. He'll be a yard shy of the first down stick. Paul on the tackle. Got a great weapon to have, and he's been able to pick up a good 8 or 9, it seems like, every time he's run the football.
Right now, sorry to interrupt, man. Ayrton Scott right now and the Augies right now just seeming to have a good time just buffing up the numbers here, but their ground game has just completely helped them control this game here. They're controlling the tempo of the game right now. They've chewed 2 minutes off the clock, and they're going to the air.
And they complete the pass on a catch made by Joey Sonnenfeld. He's all the way inside Falcon territory, up near the 37-yard line, despite the in-your-face coverage provided by Aaron Kraffel.
Make me eat my words as soon as I say them, Matt. Their ground game has been impressive, but Ayrton Scott can pass the ball just as well as he can run it. And right now they're looking to go for yet another strike for the end zone, now inside the Falcons' 40.
He was 15 for 23 passing part of that completion. 1st and 10 at the 37. Putt Rats trying to work his way near the 30. He's at the 31, gain of 6 yards. Again, this Augies team, last year in the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, they would go on to finish tied for 4th with St. Olaf out of 9 after being predicted to finish 7th, so they exceeded expectations. We have a apparent injury timeout here for the Falcons, the athletic training staff coming out. It is Joe Paul. They shook up Falcon back on his feet, walking under his own power. But last year, the Augies, 7-3, their best overall record since finishing 10-2, 9-1 in conference play, in winning the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference Championship back in 1997. This is a team that this year not expected to really surprise many. They're expected to be in the race, predicted 3rd out of 9. St. Thomas, a runner-up last year for the Division III National Championship, that against Mount Union, predicted number 1. They come into the season number 2 in the nation. And then Bethel, they're predicted number 2. That's St. Thomas Tommy's team, by the way. They returned 16 with starting experience from that team that lost in the national championship game 28-10. It's a Falcon team predicted to finish 1st this season in the NAC. They try to win their first conference championship since winning the now defunct Illini Badger Football Conference back in 2007. Scott again dumps it off balance. And Putt Rats is going to take it into the north end zone for a touchdown. A catch and run of 32 yards and 6 more Augies points.
That was a perfectly executed screen right there, Matt. All the blockers were exactly where they needed to be, and the Falcons just could not do anything to stop that. That was an excellently executed play right there.
While the Falcons never gave up more than 47 points in the game last year, they've given up 51 in this one, with 7:35 still to be played in the 4th. And the extra point coming. Bad snap. Extra point, no good. Tackle instead by Geezy. After bad snap that Bassard was trying to bring on in for Oliver to attempt. Those two just cover up as Geezy came and provided the tackle. So 7:35 left to be played. And the Falcon will get the football back down at 51-17. And again, much like last year, the Augies able to set the tone early on and haven't looked back. Able to jump in front 14-0 through 1 in last year's meeting. They were up 17-0 through 1 in this year's meeting. And again, have been in the driver's seat throughout as they are about to improve to 4-0 all-time for the Augies against the Falcons.
Yeah, Falcons here hoping to open the season on a high note here. Found an Augies team that just made so few mistakes. The mistakes they did make, man, on the other side of the field, they would make up for them in some way, shape, or form.
Not to make light or excuses for the fact that the Falcons have not started 1-0 since 1996 and are about to drop to 1-15 in non-conference games under head coach Greg Etter. But this is a team that you see a big difference when you get to conference play. They play quality non-conference opponents. No different again this season. When you factor here, it's the Augies expected to be a top of the line team in the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. But then when you look at the upcoming non-conference slate, again, continuing to get tough with McAllister in and then Trine on the road these next couple of weeks. Here's the return by Shannon Smith. Now the Falcons, they lost last year against McAllister, 17-13 in St. Paul, Minnesota. And a McAllister team that they too battle out the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. A team that the Augies beat second to last game of last season, 58-41. Then the Falcons visit Trine, a team that they beat last year for their first non-conference win under head coach Greg Etter. Beat them here 13-10. Seeing some new looks out there. The Falcons have Patrick Berg, the sophomore, in at quarterback. Let's see. The Falcons, at least down the run, utilize Brandon Martin, a sophomore, 5'4", 183 out of Milwaukee. So some new looks offensively. And so again, Patrick Berg, he will have Martin slot left, coming back out with 4 receivers. Second down and 9 from the 31. Martin up the left side, and he is stopped there by Mike Johnson. Johnson got run over, but it was able still to make the tackle. 6:40 and counting here in the fourth. 51-17, Augies. And so as far as Damashki concerned, it appears his afternoon is done. 21-33 passing, 188 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. He ran the ball 14 times for 54 yards with a long of 24. Berg able to complete the pass there with Tyler Majewski, the freshman wide receiver from Elgin, Illinois. And Majewski up near the 45, fresh out of downs for the Falcons. But nice opportunity here. Damashki last year, one of 5 that attempted at least a pass. A couple of those players, though, that attempted passes did so on option plays. Martin now slot right, 3 receivers set. 1st and 10 from their own 45. Berg over the middle. It's high, tipped and intercepted. It falls right into the hands of Andy Hadia. That's the 3rd interception now for the Augies in this game. The 5th Falcon turnover. Looked like the pass was intended for Seth Donovan. He tipped it, then it was tipped as well by Alex Verbancourt. The 2 tight ends, a 2 tight end set. They both tipped it, and then it landed beautifully right in the bread basket, if you will, of Hadia, who gets the pick.
That's his game in microcosm right there, Matt, is Falcons start building up some momentum, and then one little mistake brings it all down, and Augsburg manages to capitalize off of it.
Boy, against a bad break. 2 Falcons tipped it, and it landed comfortably, perfectly for the Augies' 4th turnover and the 5th turnover for Concordia in comparison to a couple now for Augsburg. 1st down and 10 from midfield. New quarterback for the Augies, that being Ali Cannon, the sophomore at 6'1", 184 out of Osseo, Minnesota. And so it appears that the day is done as well for Ayrton Scott. 16 for 24 passing, 285 yards, couple of touchdowns and an interception. He also ran 15 times, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had runs of 63 and 61 yards. Second down, 9 yards to go from the Falcon 49. Cannon with the handoff. The Falcons able to make the stop after about a 1-yard gain. See where the Augies got involved in that particular play. They gave that football and apparently put it in the hands with Jordan Freeman, one of the wide receivers. So seeing some new looks. Make that Tyrell Martin. Note that Freeman, though, is out there lined up as a wide receiver. He's going to be at the bottom of your screen. That along with Michael Cantor, a sophomore wide receiver from Columbia Heights, Minnesota. 3rd down and 8 from the 48. On the roll, Cannon throws in the goal, nearly intercepted, and it's still caught by Jordan Freeman. Right off the hands of the Falcons, Brett Waldorf, and right into the hands of Freeman for a first down pickup up to the 36-yard line. And you mentioned it, that's kind of been the story of this game. Some woulda, coulda, shouldas, and another tip ball that the Augies are able to adjust and take advantage of.
Just doesn't seem fair, Matt, because Concordia has managed to get close several times, and then something happens. Kurt Evans managing to fumble on the 1-yard line to what should have been a for sure interception, turning into a reception for a first down. The Falcons have just had bad luck all across the field today.
The run by Dantavian Sears, a freshman wide running back from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Gets to the 28, 8-yard pickup. The inside of 3 minutes and 30 seconds up here in the fourth, and a 51-17 lead for Augsburg. Cannon. Besides Sears, he has Derek Ruff out there. Ruff's the man in motion. Ruff gets the handoff up the right side, and Ruff hangs onto the football, tackled by Deshaun Pullen, the freshman defensive lineman out of Milwaukee. He's 6'2", 211. Ball is spotted up at the 22. And a first down again for Augsburg. Well, they came into this drive with 62 plays, 538 yards compared to the Falcons, 69 plays for 317 yards. Boy, with that kind of yardage, you'd expect a little more than 17, but here's what it is with turnovers, killing some of those drives, some penalties as well. And what is a 51-17 game? That run, again, involving Sears. And he is near the 21. Inside of 2.5 to go now. Again, a 51-17 Augies lead. They were up 17-0 after one. The closest the Falcons have gotten in this game was 24-7. Fell behind 24-0 with about 8:56 left in the second. Ruff. And hanging out for the tackle is Vince Diener, the senior linebacker. Whitelaw, Wisconsin. Ball at the 20. Going to be third down, a good 8 yards to go. The inside at 2 minutes to go now in the fourth. Augies, they head back home next week for the, or I should say in a couple of weeks. They have a bye next week, but then back-to-back home games. They get Gustavus Adolphus and then Hamlin University, the Pipers. Heading to Minneapolis, Minnesota on September 21st and the 28th to wrap up this 9th month of the calendar year. Flag in. Play clock at 0. Delay a game penalty against the Augies. They then will head to Bethel, then St. John's, the Johnnies. Home against St. Olaf at Concordia College Moorhead. Circling November 2nd against the St. Thomas Tommies. That's a home game for the Augies. Home against McAllister on November 9th, and then wrapping up the regular season at Carleton College November 16th. That's a team that the Augies beat to wrap up last season from the Metrodome 49-24. 3rd and 13 at the 25. Cannon. And he's taken down from behind. He got pushed and knocked down to the turf. Got knocked down from behind by Deshaun Pollitt. So it brings a 4th down and a field goal possibility from a good 40 yards out. And this attempted here for Brandon Oliver. And his 40-yarder, the right footer, is up. It is no good. With 58.4 seconds to go, and the Falcons will come back out offensively down 51-17. Now looking at the road ahead for the Falcons, don't forget next week right back here at Tomasini Stadium. It's the homecoming game. As the Falcons are back here to take on McAllister at 1 o'clock kickoff at Trine to wrap up non-conference play September 21st before the bye week And conference play begins October 5th here against Benedictine. October 12th at Maranatha. I guess technically that's a non-conference game too, now that Maranatha is no longer part of the conference. So that will be the final non-conference game as Patrick Burke takes off. Good-looking run for the sophomore QB. At Concordia, Chicago, October 19th, home against Lakeland, October 26th in the Cheese Bowl. November 2nd at Rockford, November 9th, home against Aurora before the Lutheran Bowl wraps up the regular season on November 16th at Wisconsin Lutheran. And that's a team that plays a little bit later on against Ripon. Martin, he's close to midfield. Next week on the NAC docket, you have Wisconsin Lutheran at Olivet, Loris at Rockford, Carthage at Lakeland, Chicago, the Maroons at Concordia, Chicago, and North Parks at Benedictine beside the McAllister-Falcon matchup. The completion on the outside involving Dominic Saragelia, the freshman wide receiver. Saragelia, a wide receiver from Schaumburg, Illinois. Time expires. Ball game in the book. And a week 1 victory for the Augsburg College Augies, who improved to 4-0 all-time against the Falcons. The final score, 51-17, as the Falcons, they get outscored in every quarter but the fourth. They outscored the Augies 7-6 in that fourth, but still dropped this one by 34 points. Getting out to the Augies up 17-0 after one. Outscored the Falcons 21-10 in the second, 7-0 in the third, and then the Falcons outscoring the Augies 7-6 in the fourth in this 51-17 final. Your thoughts on the loss for the Falcons, who again had some good positives to take from it offensively, a couple defensive stops, but it wasn't until the start of the second half that they got their first defensive stop of the game.
It's very, very true, Matt. This was a game where the Falcons always just had one thing that was not working for them. The defense took a while to warm up, but the offense managed to get going during the second quarter. Starting in the third quarter, the defense started to get their ground going, but then the offense started to sputter and made a few errors down the stretch that proved to be fatal, including Kurt Evans fumbling right on the goal line with what could have been a game-changing drive.
5 turnovers in all for the Falcons, a couple for the Augies. And again, let's see Augsburg jump in front 24-0 before the Falcons got on the scoreboard. Overall, 66 plays, 548 offensive yards for the Augies. Falcons at 72 plays for 353 yards. Time of possession, Augies in favor, 30 minutes, 17 seconds. To the Falcons, 29 minutes and 43 seconds. Augies 5 for 5 inside the red zone. Falcons 2 for 3. Damashki was 21 of 33 passing, 188 yards, a touchdown. And then Scott was 16 for 24 passing, 285 yards, couple of touchdowns. He ran the ball officially 15 times, 197 net yards, couple of touchdowns to his credit. His top receiver was Joey Sonnenfeld, 6 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown. Putt Rats had a receiving touchdown as well. The Falcons got a rushing touchdown by LaCurt Evans. From a receiving standpoint, Garrett Wenzelberger had 7 catches, 48 yards, and a score. Cody Johnson led the way with 5 catches for 72 yards, but again, Brynick would have to punt the ball on 5 separate occasions. Joe Paul led the way with 10 tackles, 1 for a loss. Lane Lawson had 8 tackles, half a tackle for a loss, and John Palazzi with 8 total tackles. As for the Augies defensively, they were led by the defense of Michael Jabarian. He had 10 tackles. He had the lone sack of the game, 2 tackles for a loss, 9 tackles for Enrico Barroso, and then Chris Devitt, who had a nice start. He had 6 tackles as well, along with 1.5 tackles for a loss. Barroso, again, had the 9 tackles. That was second best for the Augies, who improved to 1-0 yet again this season after they began last year 3-0. So the Augies, they will look to keep things rolling in a couple of weeks at home against Gustavus Adolphus. Falcons, they have a quick turnaround. They prepare now for McAllister in the homecoming game next week. And again, this is a quick turnaround as they prepare for that homecoming game and what should be a festive atmosphere here at, again, Thomas Union Stadium. And hopefully weather will not delay the start of that game.
Very, very true, Matt. It's the weather here, not a deciding factor, but it was a bit of a shadow over the entire game with the nearly 2-hour delay before it started here. And what may have been some adverse conditions on the field, as a lot of players seem to be falling back and forth here. But the Falcons had a bit of a rough start to this season, but it happens. There's a lot more football to be played in this fall.
And next week will be a telling tale of what's to come, because usually teams make their biggest adjustments and the biggest changes during the course of the season between games 1 and 2. You got a game under your belt now. Now, what adjustments do you make? What corrections can you make going into week 2? And we will soon see coming up next week for a 1 o'clock kickoff against McAllister. That's going to do it, though, here from Thomasini Stadium on the Concordia University campus here in Mequon, Wisconsin. For Tyler on camera, for my broadcast partner, Nathan Kerner, Matt Menzel saying so long and good night from the shores of Lake Michigan. Falcons, they drop their 4th game in 4 tries to the Augsburg College Augies all-time, losing their season opener by a final score of 51-17. You've been watching Falcon football via the Concordia Sports Network.